KQ podcast. I am your host, Clemens. And before I go on to introduce, could you do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell? It's actually a lot to say sometimes. Hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted every single time I go live once every week. And if I'm going to add one more person to the panel and go ahead and introduce the panel. First, we have Chris.
Hello, my name is Chris. I have a channel here on YouTube called The Blooming Ebony, and you can also find me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. Thanks for having me again, Clement. I appreciate it. It's going to be fun.
Of course. Oh. Next, we have Black Wall Street.
Hey, what's up? My name is John. You can find me on YouTube, Black Wall Street Trading LLC, or you can find me on Instagram at John Cornelius 8770.
Awesome. Love it. E-Black.
What's going on, y'all? I'm E-Black of E-Black TV. You can find me mostly everywhere. Good to be back.
Good to be back. Good to have you, man. Good to have you. Last but not least, just in time. Just made it.
Yes, I did. Hi, my name is Danielle. You can find me on YouTube at A Sip of D or on Instagram at Fly Nurse Mom Wife. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Guys, we have a lovely panel today, and we're going to have a great show. This topic, I decided to go ahead with this topic because I think currently in this society that we're in is something we don't really focus on much. Mental health. What do you guys think of mental health? Before we get into the questions.
I think it's important. I think it's something that you should pay attention to and not take for granted.
Okay. E-Black, what do you think?
I think it's something that in our community, speaking of the Black community, is very underrated in terms of how it affects all of us. So I think in terms of mental health as a society, I think there's a lot of things that we don't truly understand about how the brain functions and how it affects behavior.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I totally agree. I also think that it's important to also go get help. You know, I feel like a lot of times what I notice in the Black community, or mostly all communities, is that they know something's wrong, but they don't put in the time to go and seek help to help them get through that. A lot of times you hear that they pray about it, which, you know, that helps you cope in the beginning, do what you got to do. But I think it's really important that you see help because you never know what something can turn into, what it actually is. Self-diagnoses never really end well. And so it's good to have these conversations so people know what resources they have available to them.
Okay. All right. John? All right. You're muted.
I agree with everything that all the points that everyone's made so far. And I just want to add that, you know, a lot of times mental health is stigmatized so heavily, which is why people are afraid to go and get the help that they need. And more men tend to not go versus females, and Black females go less than white females. And Black men, we just don't go, period. Like somebody's got to pretty much order us to go and get some help.
Court ordered.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's get to the panel. The questions for the panel. Do we as a society have a clear line on when we should go for mental health checkup? Do we as a society have a clear line on when we should go for a mental health checkup? Danielle.
I was actually saying hello to knowledge relationships. I saw it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we know. I don't think it's any anything that we can see that will be like, okay, this is when, like how you get a physical every year or like to the dentist every 6 months. I don't think it's anything put out there as to like when you should do those things.
Chris?
I totally agree. There isn't anything. A lot of times, I think the clear line is typically when the person's already exploded, and they're like, "Oh, maybe you need some help." They wait until it's too late. I tell everyone to go see a therapist. Like, "Oh, I cried yesterday." I'm like, "Go to therapy. just go." I think everyone should go at least once when they're a teenager, and then at least once when they're in their, like, literally every like, you should go as if you're getting a physical. But I think that the clear line, unfortunately, is when someone breaks, when they crack. Then someone may tell you to go get therapy, and then you get ridiculed because now you're going to therapy, and they feel like you're going to therapy to either get out of the sentence. And so it's awful, an awful cycle.
John?
Oh, absolutely. There's no clear line. I mean, most people don't even understand the difference between mental illness and mental health. They cross those lines are blurred in and of itself. Mental health is so I know that she was probably being funny, being facetious when she said, if I start crying and I don't know why I really start, I'm going to see a therapist. Okay, that's real. Because anytime you are being held up in productivity, anytime that, like the example you gave me on the phone, did you check the mail today? No. How long? When the last time you checked the mail? 3 days ago. I just don't check my mail. That's the excuse you'll hear, but something is starting to go wrong with you because you're out of a routine. You're out of a cycle. And humans are people of habit. So when that habit, that cycle breaks, that change stops, why? Are you starting to get depressed? When's the last time you took a shower? Do you normally clean up? Have you cleaned up today on your cleaning day? Why are you escaping and avoiding? What's going on? Because mental health comes on you is subtle. Acute depression comes on you is subtle. And you don't really realize something is wrong until you're right in the middle of it. And now you're crying. A lot of times you're watching the sun come up. You're not sleeping. You don't know why you feel this way. I mean, so yeah, there's no clear line.
E-Black.
Yeah, I would double back. I would double what John's saying in terms of not having a clear line in society for even just basic mental health checkups. There's so many different versions of mental health, bipolar, depression, anxiety, social anxiety. There's so many different layers to just mental health that I think, as Chris was saying, you don't go or you don't feel that you need to go until something happens. And usually that's too late. So in terms of why I believe society doesn't have a clear line is because mainly we don't, like I said earlier, we don't have a knowledge of the brain enough. And then we also do not have a culture in which, for instance, men are supposed to invest in that type of behavior, in that type of checkups.
So, I mean, I hear a lot now that, everyone keeps saying, get checked up, get checked up, get checked on. But, like, what can you, if you are a regular functioning person, what can you say that, okay, it's probably time for me to get a checkup if everything is good?
I would almost say, like John was saying, in terms of, when was the last time you've taken a bath? When are you noticing behaviors that are slowly inhibiting you in society? Are you picking up excessive drinking? Are you binge drinking? Things to that manner.
Yeah, are you binge eating?
Yeah, binge eating, especially binge eating, or eating for a purpose that is not for being full, just eating for luxury eating. Going to McDonald's, just getting that Slurpee. I mean, what's that They don't even have them, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But you know, the ice cream.
The McFlurry.
Yeah, the McFlurry. They don't, I
With some
haven't had a
fries and dipping in
McFlurry.
it.
I don't know why they advertise that stuff. They don't even have it.
They got me. They still got me.
Machine always broke.
I ain't had a McFlurry in years.
That's because the folks that work at the one by you are lazy and they don't want to mess with that shake machine. They take it down early, or they just don't want to mess with it. Oh, we're out. It's broken.
Yeah, so I think
Always broken. It's been for 3 years now.
so for pretty much like I said, I think you know, there's certain behaviors that can make you functional, but you can still need to be able to identify behaviors that can make you dysfunctional, because it's a very thin line.
So everyone here believes that we do have, we're all black on the panel. In the black community, we do have a negative stigma towards mental health checkup, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
where did that come from?
Mental health negativities, that's across all, like everybody has a negative stigma towards mental health. Like people don't even want to mention the fact that they, like immediately if you say, like if I see medication, I kind of know what it's for. But if I sometimes I'll ask somebody like I don't know, and they'll like make up some, you know, they downplay it really, really hard because they feel like they're being judged. Because there's some rights and stuff you can get taken away from you, you know, if you're diagnosed with the right mental illness. Well, actually, if you're committed, if you've been committed to a hospital, which should be more the reason for you to get this early intervention, if it's possible before it progresses. I know some illnesses, it's inevitable that you're just going to have to go to a mental health hospital and be on medication for the rest of your life to remain functional. But it's a big stigma across whites, blacks, everyone. No one likes to mention that they have a mental disorder or a mental illness.
But I think in the black community, I'm not really too sure of other communities, but I know in the black community, the mere mention of like going to therapy is like taboo.
Yeah.
Versus, I think other people are more readily focused to gear their mind towards, okay, maybe I actually need to go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's because, you know, as black people, we've come so far that why would a white person tell us our problems, or what are they going to do to fix our issues? You know, I think that's kind of where it kind of stems from. It's like, you know, we've dealt with so much. How are these people going to tell us how to fix ourselves? You know, so that's just my
interesting.
I got to share this. I just looked it up. Right, 63% of blacks view mental health issues as a sign of weakness,
and that's what I was going to say.
I said, wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I can't stand not knowing something. So when we all like, nobody had a clear answer, I'm like, well, I'm fixing to find out like what's the deal. Because I think it is a little higher in blacks. But I didn't know it was a sign of personal weakness. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Somebody said about just pray about it. Was that Chris? Yeah. That's typically what we are told. We are not a people of therapy. We are religious people. We don't rely on science. We rely on God. And so most of the time, it's not that we're not getting therapy. It's just that we're not getting professional therapy from a professional therapist. They go to their pastor or somebody at the church. So it's not that we are not talking. We're just going to a religious person, which is okay. But it shouldn't be the way.
Okay, so that's what I think we need to stop doing. We need to start staying like.
No, I mean it's okay.
Because
that should be the only thing.
You got some paid pastors that are actually counselors. Like there's a whole discipline.
But for a majority of them, because I think people are going to go to just a pastor to try to seek counsel from them.
Yeah.
Versus where it's like, okay, you got to find a professional, an actual professional, to give you some sort of diagnosis, give you some sort of lay out some sort of path for you on how you can mentally help yourself.
Not necessarily.
Especially when you don't know where that that mental issue of yours is stemming from?
I think when you go to talk to that pastor, though, if they don't have the knowledge, then that should be where they point you. It's like, okay, well, I think it's this, or I think it's that, or if they're not sure if they're a good pastor, then they should just point you somewhere. And it's not just a pastor; it's your pastor. Let's replace the with the your, because that makes a difference. They're not just picking a person out the sky; they picking a person that they go and listen to all the time, that is directing them in the most important path of their life, which is how to get to God. So if you can tell me how to get to God, then I should definitely be able to come and talk to you about not feeling well, and be able to rely on you to tell me if you not what is it? Have enough know-all to tell me what to do and to tell me to go seek somewhere else. That doesn't always happen, but that's what I would hope.
The portion that the show is now getting into is one of the most highly debated topics in psychology, is the integration of traditional psychology and religion. I was not, until I worked at a 100% biblical counseling environment, like 100%. I was the only, and I was a student. I was getting my clinical hours. I was the only student there that was allowed to practice traditional psychology because they agreed to have me as an intern. But outside of that, no. The Bible is like their DSM-5. And they said, like, if you change the heart, then you affect the mind. And I was like, man, y'all crazy. No, they weren't crazy, because I witnessed it. I watched it. I saw it. Like, it worked. Like that, the interventions that they were using, all faith-based, worked on drug addicts. They had some very successful drug addicts that work. They have homes now. They have marriages restored, everything. And by affecting the heart, they change the heart. Because if your heart don't change, your mind is on temporary. Your mind sways with the wind.
Yeah.
Your mind is not as strong as you think it is. There's outside influence, but if your heart, what you believe in your heart, that'll sway your mind to think what it needs to think. So, like, if you really understand that before you use this drug again, you're going to tear up your entire family. You're going to tear up everything because your heart's been affected. Your heart has changed. How you see life has changed. A lot of your mental illness, the minor mental disorders are coming from you not reaching self-actualization. You don't really have a plan. You don't know how to succeed in the world. You made some bad choices. And the only thing a therapist does is removes that psychological inflexibility by giving you guidelines, reestablishing your goals, and have you work. That's just like with me. When I was suicidal, I was wanting to kill myself simply because I had a poor credit. I hadn't graduated from nobody's college, and everybody was ahead of me. And I was over 40. Okay, you would think, well, that's trivial. No, because you don't know what it meant to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, somewhere down the line, I lost sight. I was rocketing through life, and then how did I get derailed? And I became aware. And then I'm like, I can't fix this. I panicked. You know what I'm saying? So there was an increase in my anxiety, and then also depression, and all this stuff kicked in at one time. But a therapist, the only thing he did was gave me some goals. I did what he said to do, and I rewired myself. And as I was accomplishing those goals, my internal feelings changed. When I got in school, it changed. After I graduated, it got even better. So now I'm not depressed. I'm, feeling even better. Then I got accepted into graduate school, completed one of the masters, finishing up the doctorate now. Now I'm like, shoot, credit score improved. He put me with the law firm, told me which one to go to get it fixed. So all of this stuff, it removed what was causing the depression away because he gave me a plan. So absolutely, I mean, a pastor can do the exact same thing if he knows, if he's aware.
Let me ask you this. Here's a question to the panel as well. Do you guys think that there's mental health issues are a lot more prevalent now
Oh
in
yeah,
the current society?
absolutely, absolutely. Because the APA has become very political. They involved in politics way too much. They have people who are doing scientific research having redactions put in because you're gonna hurt a group of people's feelings. The truth hurts. It just hurts. You know what I'm saying? But it's the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
And they can't handle the truth. The truth hurts, and they don't want to hear it. And I mean, I'm not going to get into it on this panel, but I ain't going to call a spade as much as I want to. But it's certain behaviors that when 97% of the population behaves this way, and 2 point some percent of the people behave this other way, and then there's a correlation between sexual abuse as a child amongst y'all, but then you remove it from the DSM-5. Oh, come on, bro. And then you do other research saying there's no genetic factors that causes it. So what's the causative factors? We don't want to talk about that. So yeah, absolutely. And you got people talking about there's 85 different, 100 different genders based on how you feel. If you just sit down, that's why no doctors want to hear it. No psychologists worth their weight want to hear it. You can't tell me how you feel and expect me to address you as such. It doesn't even make sense. You're talking about somebody why are you disassociating with normalcy? Why are you doing that? That's a better question. Not the fact of what pronoun do I use for you. Why are you disassociating with how you were born? Why is there such an issue for you? Because there's no such thing as binary, non-binary. And if you can look it up in the dictionary. Yeah, because political.
Save that fire and burning passion, because we're gonna make that next week's panel. Okay.
Okay, I ain't gonna say nothing else then.
Yeah. Say no more, fam. Say no more.
Well,
All right.
I will say, like, after
E Black, I don't know if you're talking to us, but we can't hear you.
you can't-
Oh, I'll turn my speaker up. I thought it was me.
Hello?
He sound
He
like very
found distance.
Hello?
Yeah.
I must admit, I did a slight change to my microphone.
We'll fix that.
While you do that, we're going to move on. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna drop the link to the stream in the chat, so anyone could call in to chime in on the chat. But remember, you can only call in for one question of the night. Choose wisely.
Okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. But what I was gonna say is that
If
during
you could turn it up a little bit more.
a little
Possible.
more. I'm trying not to blast
There
all.
you go. There you go. Perfect.
Chris is so soft spoken. I try not to talk over her. but yeah, over I think COVID has definitely exposed a lot into mental health issues. Considering the fact that a lot of people had a daily structured schedule, and then all of a sudden you see everybody have to stay home and deal with their issues, not having the same outlets of alcohol and drugs in the club, not being able to go to the same deep into your social network, not being able to go to school the same way you used to do. You can't even go to the gym. So a lot of the things that we used to have was ripped away, and I literally had 4 or 5 friends have breakdowns. Not clinical breakdowns, but you can tell there's something deeper than what was going on. And I was telling people, during COVID, it was the hardest time for a lot of people because, like I said, people picked up drinking, picked up drug habits, and not only that, their way of life, their identities were changed. So, I think
Been divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for real. It was around each other so much they realized that you really don't like this person.
Yeah. Because
Y'all married, but you do not like this person.
Yeah.
because we used to just go to work. Now we got people working from home,
You actually got to spend time with this woman. Like, wow, how did I marry you?
Danielle,
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to chime in before we move on to the next?
Yes.
for it.
I was going to say also with COVID, people realizing that they were alone too. And there's nothing worse than realizing how lonely you are. Like if something were to happen, there's no one around me. You know, there's no partner. Kevin Samuels talked about this a lot. I think he called it like winter. I think it's what he
Winter's
says.
coming.
Or winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
But when something like that happens, you realize like, okay, I'm not working right now. I'm at home all the time. And you realize like I could die. And I don't have any kids. I don't have a husband or a wife. It's just me. You know, it's just me. And it's really depressing. And I had a lot of friends who broke up with their partners because they're like, are we getting married or no during COVID? And they wanted to restart everything because they were so they're so fearful of being with somebody and not getting this thing that they felt like they wanted. But I was also going to add, Stanley says social media is having a huge effect. I think social media, what it does is it shows people what they don't have. And it makes them less productive because they just see something that seems out of reach. And it just weighs on their confidence. And it's kind of like setting them up for failure in a sense. Like not everyone can have this, but since everyone on social media is putting up this front that they do have it, it makes people feel extremely insecure. And so I would say those are the two main things I wanted to add.
And that's what happened to me. It was social media that I was on Facebook, and I could see friends, you know, because these guys don't live in my same state. But I just got to looking at profiles and all the people I graduated with, and I'm like, damn, so-and-so did this. Wow, this person is that. Damn, I mean, even the dude who was like an ISS more than damn teachers that was assigned to teach ISS was doing good. I'm like, you know what? I ain't shit. I just don't need to be here no more. I'm serious. And this was years ago, but still, that if somebody would have told me, you're gonna do this, I'm like, man, you crazy. I don't even think like that. Nah, you don't know what you will do, and you don't know how you will feel. Sometimes, I'm not gonna say all the time, but until you're in the moment, until it happens, that's when you know how you're gonna respond.
Okay. All right. I like that. That was a good start. I wanted to ask a question about that, but I think it'll just lead right into our next talking point. So, next point. Do unproductive people have mental blockage or are they just lazy? Do unproductive people have mental blockage or are they just lazy?
Mental blockage.
Danielle.
Why are you always calling on me?
You didn't look like you were going to say mental blockage, so.
I think it could be either. I mean, I don't know.
I got deep when I said it, so you might want to wait. Let everybody else go.
I don't know. I mean,
All right, we'll circle back to you. How about that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's hear everybody else.
okay. Eat black.
Do unproductive people have mental blockage or are they just lazy? I mean, that kind of assumes a lot of different things. I think their personal upbringing has a lot to do with that. I think their goals in life. Some people just really don't want to be in a corporate job making millions of dollars. Some people just really want to sit back and go on a beach and and just live life the way that they have. So I don't think it's necessarily. It's kind of it's an assumption.
Let me say it this way: if unproductive, as in even if they're not going for a corporate job, they're still not productive in their own life. Their own lifestyle that they're trying to uphold, they're not productive in that.
I would say, for instance, a guy working at Starbucks for 20 years for whatever reason why. Does that mean he has a mental block, or is he lazy? But like I said, that just comes up to each individual, to where a man could just certain people just say, hey, this is my life, and they're accepted. I don't think it's necessarily a mental block, nor is it laziness. I just think certain people are not as don't have the gumption for life that other people may have. One.
Interesting.
A lot of society, just my last point. A lot of society is built on the fact that men and women have produced so much for each other, and we want to keep the next generation going on. But the fact of the matter is that there's a small segment of society that actually does the hard work for the rest of the society. So it's the unproductive people are always going to be here. It's just a matter of how they fit in. They're easier fit in this generation.
Yeah. Because now they could start a TikTok and become millionaires.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think?
I think it's a mental blockage. I think it has a lot to do with hormones. I feel like the generation now, especially, I don't think that they are producing as much testosterone as, the generations in, the early 1900s even. And that causes a lot of, I guess you can say, laziness in a lot of the men that we see. And then for women, they are productive and they, produce all this testosterone for an extremely long period of time, and they get burnt out and they get overwhelmed and they don't want to do anything anymore because they're so tired for being so masculine for so long. And so I feel like either way it leads to a form of laziness, but I think the root of it is the mental blockage. It's either not contributing the way that you should be, the way that's going to allow you to feel fulfilled as a man, or contributing too much in a bad mindset for a woman, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That made perfect sense.
John.
Oh, definitely mental blockage. Come on now, boo boo. You know I was gonna go there.
I know.
I mean, mental blockage, and then if you I'm looking at it from Chris's perspective also. But if you go way back, when I first blurted it out, when you posed the question, I was thinking that parents are the ones who cause these blocks. And a lot of people don't realize that. See, a child comes into this world with no instructions. You're going to do what you saw, and then you're going to make what was done to you, and what you're going to make modifications to that. But a lot of it is based on how you feel and not really science. Okay, there's stages to child's development. This has been researched. Longitudinal studies have shown the differences. There's 4 different parenting styles, and children who are parented by a permissive, I want to be your friend parent, they tend to be on drugs, they tend to be obese, they tend to fail in life, and they tend to be what's called lazy. But why? Because their parents have caused them to fail at every stage to solve the proper conflict, if you want to go off of Erickson's model. Okay. Not only that, they've never really been pushed toward anything. They've never been encouraged to win at anything. It's just kind of whatever you want to do, however you feel is okay, then that's what you get. And if you notice, there's been a big change in the way parenting is going about. You see, how many YouTube videos do you see a student trying to fight a teacher? How many times have you saw a principal or a teacher, a male teacher, have to put hands on a young son or a young man because he's bold enough to just get in this teacher's face and do these things? I mean, these things were unheard of back in the day. It was unheard of, but it's because the parenting style has started to change. No one wants to be the authoritative, which is the most successful, lead to the highest success, where it's a balance between discipline and love. Some are either too much, where you're authoritarian and it's just, you either gonna do it the way I'm telling you to do it, or I don't care what happens to you. No, that's not how you parent. You can't do that, because they're gonna despise you. You'll have a well-behaved kid temporarily, but when they get older, they start to have depression. They have a low self-esteem. Why? Because you killed it. So that child might also be lazy because they have no self-esteem. See, if you don't build that self-esteem when they're young, then that's going to also translate when they are grown. You got to understand, we are adapting and they are learning. And if you learn to be quiet and don't speak up for yourself, you're just not going to one day be boisterous and speak up for yourself. This just, you are going to be the person that lets everything go and then hold it in. You might be microaggressive, passive aggressive, to where you might do something because deep down inside you don't like how you're being treated, or you disagree with what they said. So you do these little weird things, but you won't stand on your six and just get up there and get in his face and, hey, look, I don't like that. Don't say that again. Blah blah blah, because you just weren't the way you. That's not how you were brought up. And then you got to take into consideration hormonal imbalances. If you're this permissive parent and your kid is overweight, this kid will probably suffer from depression too, because you're producing cortisol. Cortisol is being produced in there. You're not producing high levels of testosterone, which means you're not producing leptin, which is the natural, like your natural fat burner. So yeah, you're probably going to be depressed also. You're probably going to stay up all night. Or once again, that's a symptom, because your whole chemical structure, your whole chemistry is just off. You're not producing melatonin. You're not producing serotonin. All of these things are causing you, not to get proper sleep, and it leads to other health issues. So yeah.
Let me ask you this: when prior generations, again, there's a question to the panel. The prior generations, they didn't really focus on mental health as much. So the people that really did have it, they suffered, but not a lot of people seemed to have it back then, and they were far more productive of an era than we are now. And now I think now we probably shed more light than they did back then on mental health. So is it fair to say that the more light we shed on it, the softer we become?
Well, back then they did have more mental health hospitals.
They had problems, but they weren't really, like, we didn't really understand. Like back then, you didn't really understand the complexities of mental health. Like they didn't understand the different variations. I mean, you still had people trying to, to treat certain illnesses. They were trying to give you a lobectomy, trying to cut off the entire frontal lobe. They're talking about, this will fix it right here. He'll be normal. No, he won't be normal. He won't feel nothing. Like he has just there.
Give him the Planet of the Apes.
No emotion. They sit there like just sitting there, just. You had all these quacks that was using humans to explore, or if you were in, if you were country, you thought you was possessed. You had schizophrenia, and nobody knew what schizophrenia was, and they talking about this child said he's said he was God. That's blasphemy. And then next thing you know, this person is getting jailed, or it was bad back then. I mean, it was pretty bad. But the more we know now, you just got to get people to be honest and truthful and say something's wrong. You know what I mean? That's the biggest problem. People just don't, that stigma is real. People just don't really want to bring it up. I mean, they really don't. They're embarrassed by it. Especially like when you have a diagnosis you're embarrassed by, you don't want to talk about it. You want to just shift it under the rug. I think that's really the biggest problem. Ain't nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. And then you got doctors that are just prescribing just to be prescribing. So it's it's
the pharmaceutical companies are not helping at all with because they send people from actually having an illness to hooked onto like pills or what's that called?
Dependent.
Narcotics. Was it?
They dependent on narcotics.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be narcotics. They could just be just a prescription.
It's crazy too, because literally when I had a surgery for my shoulder, and I had a week of what was it?
Percocets?
No, it wasn't Perk.
Xannies?
No, it wasn't Xannies.
Probably Norco.
Yeah, it was something with an N. It was something with an N. Yeah. But I remember
the yellow.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Norco.
So I remember when I was off that, it was just only a week. It was legit only a week. And after that, the next week, I was like cold sweats. I was constantly craving it. Suddenly my shoulder was hurting much more. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not much of a pill person, so I don't like ever taking pills. But it was just crazy to me that was only a week, and my body got hooked that much to that. So I can't even imagine like 6 months of having to use that. You're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even come back from that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
Typically doctors will tell you to cycle through. So they'll tell you to take that, like the narcotic, like maybe the beginning of the day. And then after that, you should take something like lighter pain medications because they know how quickly people will get hooked on these things. Yet they keep just giving them to people. I understand like after a surgery, that's a pain level where it makes some sense. But the fact that they have to do that, like only take this once a day or don't take it more than 2 times a day. If you're going to take it, make sure you don't take it, again, after 8 hours, take something like Tylenol or ibuprofen and only take 600 milligrams. Like they do that because people get addicted so quickly to these things.
What
And
doctors
it's
do that?
ridiculous.
I mean,
What doctors do that?
Some of them do. My partner, when he got surgery, they told him to cycle
That was an
through.
awesome doctor.
Yeah.
Because as a nurse, I don't hear that.
Yeah. And I had a doctor who
I
she
didn't
said,
hear
you
that.
don't need it.
Yeah.
She's like, what's your pain level? And I said, oh, it's I think it was like a 5 or 6. And she's like, okay, you don't need this. We're just going to give you this instead. Because she knew, and I was a teenager. And she's like, I'm not going to give this to a teenager. But yeah, people get addicted extremely fast. And highly productive people get addicted. It's not just people who are mentally, I guess, I don't like to say mentally weak, but are more likely to become addicted, more likely to be reliant on something that's going to make them feel good. It's not just them. It's some people who are highly productive also get addicted to these things, and it's extremely sad. But sorry, I didn't mean to derail the conversation there.
No. This is.
But see, that's my problem with a lot of people don't understand. Like you got some people who maliciously want those Let's just call a spade a spade. They are like elated that they got prescribed it. But when my son broke his wrist playing football, they were trying to give him Tylenol 3. But because I was with a person, his mother, who was a pill head, I was well schooled on pills. I said, oh, hell no, that shit's got hydrocodone in it. I said, you don't need that. 800 milligram Motrin will work just fine. Well, sir, I understand you're his father. I said, and then since you understand that, let me cut you off right here. The next things that come out your mouth, I'm not a political person. I will cuss you out because I know what I'm talking about. He's never been exposed to any type of real strong narcotics. Therefore, a pain medication at 800 milligram Motrin will help him heal, because if there's going to be any pain associated with the healing process, it's going to be in the form of inflammation, and that's an anti-inflammatory, and it's going to help that, which will essentially remove the pain. I'm not an idiot, so let's get that.
Go ahead, Dad.
And he said he was gonna have him. He was gonna have him take those footballs, man. Them big old football 800 pills.
Yeah, they was trying to give my baby some codeine.
Yeah,
Not allowed to complain, but 14, man, that boy he producing high levels of growth hormone. The boy is going, he'll heal up just like that, and he just got a high threshold for pain. When he broke it, he didn't say nothing. He was like, "Daddy, something ain't right. I can't move my hand." I'm like, "Let's go. We gotta go to the hospital." Man,
he had a mental blockage
like that.
He had a mental blockage, exactly.
Daddy, something ain't right. I can't move my hand because it ain't attached no more.
I think as guys, we just naturally want to. Because I remember when I shattered my wrist, I just kind of luckily I had a watch on. So the doctor was like, "Oh, it kept all your bones in place when you shattered it." But it was like gone. When it happened, I had no idea. So I was just like, all right, my hand feels weird. So let me just try to punch it back into place. It probably fell out of the socket. Honestly, this was my thought process. I was like, this sounds good. In my head, I was like, this is a good idea. Right? So I was just like, I was in snow. It wasn't snow, so it wasn't that bad. So I was just punching the snow. And I was like, all right, it's eventually going to feel better. It didn't feel better at all. It felt worse, much worse.
You think?
Yeah. And then this is my sister's a nurse. I called her up and I was like, "Hey, what do I do about this? Like my hand feels funny." She's like, "Oh, send me a picture." I send her a picture, not when I looked at the picture, it kind of dawned on me, oh, wow, this is broken. because it was like, like that's when it clicked to me, like, oh, this is actually just broken. Like, it's not that it's like popped out of place, because it was like bone didn't break skin, but it was definitely not where it needed to be. Yeah. It
How
How
old
you
are
cover
you?
up that blonde hair so good with black hair?
was that?
How did you cover up your blonde hair so good with black hair? You naturally a blonde, right? I'm
Don't be
just,
picking on him.
Damn, bro.
I'm just asking.
They calling
It's
you like
better you had a
they say
blonde.
blondes are bimbos or like clueless. They kind of like
Listen, man, I was just like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. All right.
How
Listen, it
old were
really
you?
wasn't that bad. How old?
Yeah.
This wasn't that long ago. This was like 2 years ago. It was like 2 years ago. I was snowboarding. All right. I was enjoying it, my life, living my best life out in the mountains, shooting the breeze. It was fun. It was fun.
Danielle, man, you
Hey,
see
man.
why I said what I said, right? I
Hey,
said
man.
why I asked him, how did you cover up that blonde?
It's a mental blockage, guys. It was just it was a moment of mental blockage. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
You're right,
see,
though.
when you
That's
get
how we
old,
are, man.
when you get old like me, you don't have no more mental blockage for the pain no more. If I twist my ankle, I'll be out for a month. I'm done. I'm done. Like,
That's tapping out.
and then I got health insurance now, so I'll be like, hey, my wrist ain't feeling good right now. I'll be going for nothing. He'd be like, man, just take some pills. I'll be like, okay.
Oh my God. Well, if you go into the hospital like that, add some Affleck to it so you can get paid every time you go to the hospital. I swear to God.
Affleck.
Yes.
Man, I heard them.
If you go to the emergency room or something, you get like $100. If they got to do an X-ray, you get like another $100. If they give you a prescription, you get like another $100. And it only costs like $60 a month for my whole family, and life insurance is included in that. Get some Affleck.
Get some Affleck.
I got all boys. I be waiting for them to bust their head. Come on, let's go to the emergency room so I can get my $300.
Hey, let me see you run down the steps real fast.
Run me my money.
I don't have to ask them to do that. They be ready, okay? They be trying to flick downstairs.
All right. So I originally had a video on mental health that I wanted to show, but for some reason that got taken down. That was off of TikTok. So I'm actually going to play a video that I recently sent to Chris. So if everyone could do me a favor.
Lost your lighter.
What's that?
He was just patting his pockets.
But Danielle be on me, I swear.
Danielle's a nurse. She wanted to have you living healthy.
All right. Do me a favor, guys. Mute your mics.
I think for a guy of value, like you should do more, to be honest.
A guy of value. Okay.
No, like a guy that you like a guy that you like want and like want to compete for. Like I think you should like what?
I have never been one to compete for a man ever.
Yeah, but you also like you've never had a boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I think like in order to like get, because even with Wanye, like when I would ask him like what made me like stand out from like other girls, like he said it was like because you were so nice and like so helpful, because I was like helping him with all of this stuff like before we were even like dating,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, that's just like, so why do you think like you shouldn't do anything for a guy?
Because men want to do for you. Men want to do for the woman, right? They are the ones that are needed. They want to feel like they can come in and provide for you and help you do stuff. And if you're doing everything for them, they're not really going to feel like there's a place for them. And then you also end up in a realm where they walk all over you and expect you to do everything for them. And then you become their mother and not their girlfriend.
Right. Well, no, I definitely agree with you there, but I think it's like you kind of meet in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
Like I think like if you want him to treat you like a queen, you have to treat him like a king.
Sure.
So like, like which means like buying him gifts unexpectedly, or like cooking for him, cleaning for it, like, and I'm not saying you have to do that like your full-time job, but like I think guys want to be like appreciated.
Thoughts so far?
She gonna have that job for a long time.
Superiority complex.
She gonna be working folding clothes in that department store for a long time because
She didn't even get to the real delusional part yet. We didn't even get to the real delusional part.
I'm saying that she's got a superiority complex. Because those are opposites. Like you would think superiority, they are like feel like they do, but they're afraid to be vulnerable. Inferiority, they're afraid to take charge. So they put up these facades. Like all of that right there is fluff in the facade. She really fit like she really believes a man's gonna walk all over. You heard what she said?
Yeah.
And they just walk all over you. That's what put me on game. It was not your typical feminist talk. Like she really like something's wrong. Let's just keep watching. I'll be able to get a good grasp. I want to keep looking at it.
It gets better. It gets better. Bronze Bird, what's going on, man? Good to see you again. I'm glad you could join the chat. Stanley, Knowledge Relationships, Madison. Thank you guys all for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest with us. Let's go. Do me a favor, mute your mics, guys. Fair use, fair use.
So, I mean, I cook. I mean, you know, because you came to my house and
Yeah.
I cook.
Oh
for
my
you.
gosh, you're a great cook, actually. You're a great
That's like
cook.
nothing. You know what I mean? Like anytime anyone's coming over, like man, female, whoever, like
Okay.
you're gonna have food made by me. So like, I
Mhm.
guess that already gives me a leg up, so I don't have to think about that.
Yeah.
And sure, like once I get to the point where I'm living with my man, I'm gonna be doing
Mhm.
the cooking and cleaning most likely because
Mhm.
I want it done a certain way. So I'm just gonna do
Okay.
it. It doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
But when we're in the courting stages,
Mhm.
what I'm doing for you, I'm giving you my time. I'm spending
Mhm.
time, and I'm showing you appreciation by showing up looking good and smelling good. And if that's not
Mhm.
enough for you, it'll be enough for someone else.
Oh my gosh, no. I think like no, okay, think about it. Like if you have like let's say you have a guy and he's talking to like 3 different girls, right? Like I like genuinely think like if you're the one that's like going out of your way to like make him feel special, like you're gonna have a leg up over like the other 2 girls rather than the one who's just doing nothing.
Okay.
Even in like the courting phases. So like imagine if you like dropped off like this is a guy, he's talking to 3 different girls, but you're the one who made him like a special gift, right? And you just drop it off at his work to be nice. Like I bet that's gonna go a long way.
I don't know. Okay, this is an example that it didn't happen to me, but the most recent season of The Bachelor with the guy Matt James, right?
Yes.
In his like final 3, the chick, one of the chicks made him special like jerseys that said Mr. and Mrs. James, and she got him this whole little gift. And this was before he like got down to the final 2, and she's like, you know, I just really wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you, how much I, you know, I'm falling in love with you, blah blah blah. He was like, thank you for the gift, and broke up with her in that moment. And then
Wait, is that Michelle?
Yeah. And then he picked the chick who did literally nothing, who sat in the corner and was quiet the entire time.
Yeah, but I think he liked her from the beginning. Like, I think like
Oh, it doesn't really like if they like you, they like you. You don't have to do all the extras to like sway them into liking you. Like when that happened, it was such a cringe moment because I was like, man, she really thought she was about to be Mrs. James. She got all this shit monogrammed and everything, and he was like, and he literally just left her like right there.
Yeah, but that's like reality TV, you know, like that's not like real
Still
life.
men and women. It's
Okay,
men and
I'll give you an example, right? My mom and this is how my mom got to date a guy in the top 0.5% of men.
Okay.
Right. I mean, he was like in terms of income, right? And she was I mean, granted, he didn't make that money then, right? But like my dad's always been a hard worker. Any girl that's met him like at a young age, like they'd be able to tell. She was dating my dad. They were doing distance because they met like in Texas. It's a long story. They met my uncles and my aunt were engaged, and they brought each other.
Okay, a lot went on in that. A lot happened in that. But
She confirmed my diagnosis, buddy.
E Black, what do you think?
Yeah, I think John is gonna have a great future in psychology.
With patients like her.
Yes, he's pretty much spot on in his diagnosis.
Before we continue the talk on the reaction, I kind of want to tackle this real quick. Depressed friend says she doesn't want to talk, and that she doesn't talk to anyone, but she's online on WhatsApp. Is she lying? I'm afraid of confronting her.
She's escaping. She's escaping. She really doesn't want to talk, but she's escaping through media outlets. She doesn't want to face her issues head on with another individual for fear of judgment and rejection. What's got her going, what's got her spiraling. But she's probably spending a lot of time online. And if there's a game or anything, she's probably escaped off into that game too.
And she may based on your friendship, be ducking accountability. So that might be another thing. She doesn't want to.
If she really wants to reach her, see if she can talk to her on WhatsApp. If she doesn't want to see her in person, or see if she's engaging in a game, see if you can try to get her to teach you that game, something just so you can kind of know that she's okay, so that you can kind of monitor, because she's not gonna want to come around until she's ready to come around. This, when somebody's depressed, it's something you just can't you can't just insert yourself in their life, because they won't do that. They won't go for that at all.
I want to add that you should just don't confront. You don't confront a depressed person. Just be friend.
Just be friend. Just
be genuine.
Be genuine and be like, what she's giving you, take that. If she only want to talk to you on WhatsApp, or if it's not you that she's talking to on WhatsApp, then just is that. I mean, it is what it is. But don't just barge in, because that's not good.
And assure her that you would not judge her, and that you want to be there for her, and that it is not a bother, and that whenever she is ready, that you are also ready and willing to listen. Not even to help.
Don't invite them out. Don't invite them nowhere, because they ain't gonna go. They don't want to leave that house. That's just wasting your breath. They depressed. I promise you, they don't want to go nowhere.
Don't give up either.
But don't give up either. But a phone call, kind of checking on them, listen to them real good when they're on the phone. See how long they stay on the phone, and stuff like that.
Mail some favorite snacks or something.
Yeah, because they probably eating. They probably. I don't know if it's a female. Oh, it's a female.
It's a female.
Okay, so a lot of females tend to comfort eat when they depressed. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's higher in females than men.
Comfort eating.
We need them snacks.
Yeah.
Well, Mateus, I hope what we just gave you was helpful. Hopefully, you were still here to get that information. If not, rewatch and get that information, because it'll help you. All right, so we're gonna go through just a little bit more of this, and then I want to move on to the next question. You guys all right with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Mute your mics, please.
Other to like me, right? So that's how they met. Then like they broke up the engagement, but my parents like ended up getting married later. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So they like both stayed with like my uncle and my aunt for the summer. That's how they met. When like then they lived 2 hours apart but did distance. And my dad told my mom, he said, look, you can either move to me or you can find a new boyfriend. And that's what she said. She said, you know what? Like, this is a guy that I want to be with. I'm going to drop what I'm doing and go follow him. And then on top of that, like, she also gave up her career. She was going to be a teacher. And she said, you know what? Like, you need help in your business. I'm going to go do that. And like, that's how she got like a top percentage of men, is because like other girls would probably say, no, I'm not. I'm going to put like myself first. I'm not going to like give this up for you. But because my mom was like selfless, and she said, you know what? I'm going to go follow you, and I'm going to like, you're the leader. Like, then now she has 10 kids, lives in a mansion, and like is a multimillionaire. Like,
I love that.
It wasn't by just like sitting back and doing nothing.
Doing nothing. Yeah. That is
And
a
that's
great perspective on it. Yeah.
and I think like a lot of times like as women like we look at girls that don't have to like do anything, and like sometimes that exists. Like there's a girl that's just like super pretty or super like pretty privilege is like real, right? Like girls like that are supermodels that they just don't have to do anything. But like I like personally think like where I consider myself like cute, like that's where I think I fall. I think there's a million cute girls. So what can you do to stand out? Like I think if you do more, like you'll find someone at some point that gives you more back, because just men are like not used to having a girl that like really appreciates them.
Mm-hmm. I think for me personally, I tend to overdo it, right? Like it would go from me like dropping off a cute gift at your job to me like obsessively being like, can I do your laundry? Can I make you dinner? Can I do this? And I wouldn't know where to stop myself.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So like, especially right now at the place where I'm at, I'm gonna go down that road until I'm more steadily seeing one person. Then sure, all those things back and forth. But when we're both still kind of like, I don't know, in the very beginning stages of dating each other, especially while I'm dating multiple guys.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that initiative to do those extra things. But I mean, that's a little different. How long did your parents date long distance for?
Oh, they dated for, I want to say like 2 years.
They were exclusive after those.
Well, it used to always be afraid of, but season. How are you? Are you in the
Blowing up my phone, like being annoying, which is really nice. I need.
All right, we're gonna cut it there. I wanted to get to the main important part of it, but thoughts.
Insecurities in relationships.
Yeah. Which is a sign.
Non-committal, just wanting to do things herself, live in her sacred space of happiness, working and doing the things that make her feel good, which is fine. I think every person deserves that. But, you know, as you can see, one person is trying to tell you, hey, you know, guys don't really want that.
She's not hearing it.
Nice about it.
She is not hearing it.
And she's not cute. And she pretty much told her she was told.
No. Listen, let's be real. Like she's
not
pretty. She's pretty. Listen. She's pretty enough that she gets with guys that are high status or high earning, that she believes that is what she can have.
I gotta get my eyes checked.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
No. Go ahead. What'd you hear, Black?
I did not hear that she was getting with guys of high status. I heard just regular dating. And then she said that she didn't have a boyfriend.
She's never had a boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
So
never had a boyfriend, but she's talking about dating all these guys.
Yeah.
So that's the only logical conclusion, because I'm going to assume that she's not a virgin.
I don't know why you assume that.
I think she's just non-committal. I think something happened. I think something happened in her earlier childhood and possibly abandonment issues. But I mean, also she could just be enjoying life too, to the point to where she doesn't think that she's not gonna have to settle down. So
I am going to post this inside the chat, and definitely watch it when you guys have a chance. That's Pearl from Just Pearly Things. This was one of her most recent interviews. That's her friend, actually. It was like an hour-long interview, and it just got more and more delusional as time went on. Like, insane. Like, I was just like, this lady's not living in reality. So that moves us.
She was saying.
What's that?
What was some stuff she was saying that was really?
The biggest thing was because Pearl asked her, oh, would you ever date a guy making, you know, like the average person like 45 grand a year? She's like, he can't even afford the ring that I want. Like, I want a 200K ring, $200,000. And she named off it needs to be blah, 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 carats, blah, 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 blah. So I can't settle for anything less. I could buy myself a $200,000 ring. So why would I settle for a guy that can't buy me that?
And see, that's what I'm talking about. People with that complex overcompensate because of fear. Like, so she's saying, oh, I'll be somebody's wife if he can do this right here.
If he can be super.
In her mind, that the money, not him, will make her so happy and elated that she can remove some of the fear that she has. But under normal circumstances, absolutely not. No, I can do this. I'll do it myself. Like, that's, yeah. She needs to see a therapist because she is really psychologically inflexed. Bad.
All right.
And
she needs to see Kevin Samuels. That's all.
Ma'am, you're a 3 at best, okay?
All right. Let's be nice, people. All right, let's be nice. It's hump day. Let's be nice about it. Okay, so moving on to the next question, which is riding right off that video. People with unrealistic expectations when dating, could that be considered a mental issue? People with unrealistic expectations when dating, could that be considered a mental issue? Thoughts?
Sometimes.
Comments, concerns. Chris?
Sometimes.
You got lucky this time, Danielle.
I was counting. I was like, she go call.
I thought about it.
I don't know if I would say it was a mental issue. Just it could be, but I think that the issue. Okay, so if we're thinking about that video and her unrealistic expectations, it was more so because she was trying to protect herself in the sense, like it's really hard to look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm actually average, so I'm gonna get an average man. It's much easier to say, oh, I'm a 10, so I deserve a 10 who's gonna buy me a $200,000 ring and, you know, buy me a mansion, and because I'm perfect in every way, and lie to yourself until, you know, you die alone, basically, as Kevin Samuels would say it. So I don't know if I would say it was a mental issue. I think it's so many years of forcing down your vulnerabilities, so many years of not acknowledging who you actually are. This is a hard question. I can probably elaborate more after someone else goes, but I don't know if I would classify it as a mental issue. But I'm also biased because I really dislike people who have unrealistic expectations.
She don't want to say y'all crazy. That's what she's trying to say. She's nice enough to say, I don't like your issues, but I'm not gonna call you crazy. But I'm gonna come out and say, I do think that the dystopia with expectations within a relationship can be clinically diagnosed as mental issues. So yeah, yeah, you can actually, like with her, you could probably pinpoint some childhood issues. You could pinpoint probably a lot of times sexual abuse, sometimes, abandonment. So I do believe that without including everybody under that list, I do believe that people with unrealistic expectations can be attributed to some type of mental dystopia.
Yeah.
Danielle.
So I must be mentally ill because listening to that young lady, I did not disagree with her.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, dang.
What the?
Men do want to feel wanted, and they do want to come and You know, just like when Chris was talking about a female being vulnerable. When that female is vulnerable, that man wants to come to her rescue and fix or help her fix whatever is going on. A woman that is too put together, a man will feel she does not need me.
Right.
And if you don't need me, then why am I there?
Right.
So I don't disagree with her. Also, if you are dating multiple men, why would you be pouring extra into anyone? No. You're not the catch. I'm the catch. So you have to show me that I am someone you want, because before you show me that I'm somebody that you
let her
want,
finish.
then at that point we are both just dating multiple people. I haven't distinguished myself to you. You haven't distinguished yourself to me, and we're just buddies. We're just hanging out. If we're just buddies and we're just hanging out, then what is it that you're expecting from me but to be just going to hang out?
E-Black.
So you're saying you're the catch, the man's not the catch, is in your opinion?
Exactly. It doesn't say when you find a husband, you find a good thing. It says when you find a wife, you find a good thing.
Go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris over there about the birth.
I believe women are the prize. And this goes back to what Jordan Peterson was talking about, where he said women are interested in people and men are interested in things. And they also did like a study where they were saying like the more attractive a woman is, the more it triggers a part of their brain that's like an object that they think is shiny and pretty, and they want it. Men are the catch, women are the prize. And oops, is that on my end? Do you guys hear that crackling, or is it just me?
Yeah. I think that was on your end, or is that Danielle? No, she's muted. It might be yours, Chris. Yeah, I think that.
Sorry, I don't know what's causing that. My bad.
There we go. That's good now.
But women are the prize, and it's this. I think it's because they do want this person who smells good. They can show off to their friends. They feel good about it. They feel like they've earned something. You know, that when men typically work really, really hard, and at some point they realize, okay, it's time for me to get a wife. You know, I've earned this status in my life. But this idea that it's not a two-way street, I think, is what's creating the delusion that we're seeing in this young woman, where she thinks that she's the only special part of the relationship.
That's not what she said. That's not what she said. She minimized
her role in the relationship to just smelling good.
Lose her.
Hold on, Danielle. Hold on. Chris, finish.
She sort of minimized her role in the relationship to just smelling good. I understand in the dating process is what she said, but it does take a little bit more. You know, it's not in what you do, it's in how you do it. And honestly, if she's rotational dating and I think she's 30 now and no one's married her and she has never had a boyfriend, she's probably doing something wrong. I understand not wanting to give somebody extra or treat somebody special, like in a special way if you're rotational dating. But at the same time, to think that you don't have to contribute something, but you can just take something, is where the disconnect is. Does that make sense?
Danielle, what do you think?
I'm married. And I did not give him anything extra. We were just buddies. We hung out. He did extra for me. He showed me he liked me.
This is going to be a bit of a personal question, obviously, to feel free to answer.
Sure.
Were you rotational dating while dating your husband?
In the beginning, absolutely.
Yeah, but then you got other qualities about you. Like I can see why he married you. Like
Well,
you
thank
have other qualities like I know, like you don't have to worry. You know, men can appreciate a woman who they don't have to worry about them too tough. Like most things you can solve on your own. Like a lot of stuff you can solve on your own. And if you get your husband involved, then he knows it's a big deal because you can solve most of those other things. And then you understand what roles, like you know his role and you know your role. That's another really big plus, a huge plus, and it's valuable as hell nowadays because men are looking for it. And the average woman they run into, they don't even want to hear about that. And then you have a strong religious part to your marriage? I
Was
mean,
not going on when I met him.
wasn't going on when you met him.
Was not going on when I met who I am right now. Who you seeing?
Mhm.
Not who I was when he. I was that chick. That's because I was quiet during the video.
You were that chick.
I was that chick. I do have abandonment issues. I did have childhood trauma because I was molested by my first cousin. That was my mother's favorite nephew. I had a lot of things going on. I was the only female in my family from the grandkids, and so I saw all my cousins doing all these things to females. I didn't have any uncles. I had all aunts. So then I had grown women crying for the same thing that my young cousins was doing to these young girls. So I saw the young boys doing it and the girls crying. I saw my older aunties crying from the older men. So this is all I saw from men was just hurt. So no. And then I want to know, what's the difference between a catch and a prize? Because I guess for me, they're interchangeable. And you saying that they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay, so what is the difference?
A catch is something that you take home and you worked hard for and you got it, and this is a staple of what is, a product of your hard work. A prize is something that's given to you, and it's just a possession.
Also, you can think about it. Women are supposed to attract men. You're not supposed to chase men, and so your options are being thrown at you, and you catch it. Whereas a man does something and he's shown his prize. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You work hard for
the catch comes to you,
and I'm supposed to work hard to win the man.
You're supposed to show a certain level of value that's consistent with his level of value. Like, for example, you are probably married because you and your partner are on the same playing field. Like, you have so many options and you chose out of your options. She doesn't have these options. If she did, she'd probably be married by now. She wants options that are probably completely out of her league, instead of her just taking the man who makes 80 grand or 60 grand or whatever. Does that make sense? So there's a lot to unpack here, but the idea is she's delusional. She's completely, what she's saying is right, but the way that she's using it is wrong. When you go into a relationship, your value.
Those are the points that I was trying to get to. That what Chris is talking about now, like there are certain things, like you can have a woman who will think a certain way, like that woman. We can take that woman right there. That woman in that video, she can still think how she thinks, right? But let's just exchange the $200,000 ring. Let's remove that out of there, okay? Because that's out there. That's far out there. All right, and let's say $5,000 ring. Okay, that's not out there. That's doable. $6,000 ring, whatever. I may not personally like the fact that she has a monetary amount on that ring, and I wouldn't, because I don't even want her to be around when I get it. I just want to get it and show up and propose. That's me. But if she's got other things, all right, so she can cook and she's willing to cook, she's willing to clean. She is actually, I don't really need you to be, I'm not really studying much more than that. I'm just being honest. Me personally, like, she speaks well. I can take her around my friends who are doctors and things of that nature because she speaks well. She's not going to be embarrassing. She seems like she could be loyal. If she finally gave in and married you, she probably would be loyal. But so what I'm saying is all these other things will meet my values. So then I'll marry her. Even though a few things I could live without, but for the most part, I find value in this woman. So
all right,
I'll marry her.
Real quick, I found the moment I was saying, because Danielle, you said you see yourself in this woman, so I find that very interesting. So I want you to listen to this part and still see. I honestly, I'm genuinely curious in your reaction to this now. So this is a true reaction video. All right, do me a favor, mute your mics. Let's get that off the screen. And boom.
Let's say he just started his own business, but he makes 45,000 a year. Would you date him?
You wouldn't be able to afford my engagement ring. I'm getting an 8-carat Christian cut vintage engagement ring. If you make $45,000 a year, it would take you
What?
4 years? No, 8 years to afford.
Wait, how much?
ring?
I don't know anything about rings. How much is that?
About $200,000.
Girl, you want a $200,000? Are you
I'm a
insane?
sparkle. My ring has to sparkle from across the street. Like you have to see that shit. It's gonna blind people.
But that's so superficial. That's like so superficial.
But it's about so much more than that. It's about the fact that you can afford that, right? I go to yoga with this girl who has an 8-carat diamond engagement ring.
Yeah.
A weed company and drives an Audi. So it's about more than just it's about the fact that you can afford that.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking like you're gonna miss out on a lot of guys because I'm telling no, but not in a good way. Not in a good way. I'm telling you, like my dad would, if my mom asked for that from my dad would have told her to go find a new boyfriend because there's no way in hell he was going to spend $200,000 on an engagement ring, and that's that's a multi-millionaire in the top 0.5% who had 10 kids. My mom never.
He built. He said he's built to becoming that. He wasn't that originally, right?
He wasn't. Well, he was making like 6 figures in his early 20s.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So any woman with half a brain would think, this is a good. But my dad's like, he's good.
So you just wanted me to react?
Yeah, I'm curious. Do you still? Was that genuinely your mentality? You're like, this is what I want.
No, I didn't chase money.
Okay.
I actually ran from money. I had millionaires try to court me, and that wasn't what I wanted.
Why?
Because the millionaires that was courting me didn't have the character that I needed them to have.
Interesting. So out of go ahead.
I'm not a flashy person. I like nice things. Yeah, I'm not materialistic. I like nice things, but the nice things that I like aren't really what you gonna wear or drive. I think my nice things are like, I want a nice home. I want it to look nice. I like spend most of my money on my kids. I want them to have like awesome after school activities. I don't spend my money on myself. My husband gave me money one day. He was like, and don't spend it on them. Like, make sure you get yourself something. And then I was like perplexed because I was just like,
the hardest thing you've ever had to do, huh?
I held the money and I still spent it on my kids.
He's watching this. All right, you're in trouble now.
He like right in the next room. But I do spend money on myself, but I can if I'm gonna spend on myself, I can make that on my own.
So then I would say that is a big difference between, because I mean, I would say a certain mindset that she had, you were on the same path with a certain mindset. But I think this is the deviating point, that you were still able to get married and still able to attain a happy lifestyle, versus I think she's gonna have a very tough time doing, because she's not also chasing that perfect individual. She's also chasing the money aspect with it, the economic value of it as well.
She needs to go watch a Brittany Renner video then.
Who is that person? Like, I keep hearing about this person. Like, what's the story with that?
She an IG model who made a video saying that if you want to get some money or whatever, have a quick come up, then you need to date an athlete because they stupid and they don't use condoms.
Oh, okay.
I know who that is. That's that girl who got that dude on like $200,000 a month.
But that's not how much she gets. That's not even the actual amount that she gets a month. That's just what they said. They said that's not really what she gets.
What she really get?
I didn't look it up to say. I will look it up and I will let you know. But that's not what she gets.
Oh, it's over 80,000.
You talking about Brittany Reiner?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I don't think that she would do it quite like that, because if that's who she wanted, if she wanted to get with a man like that, does she need to go date an athlete because they stupid and they do it to her without a condom, and then she could just stick around them. She don't have to actually leave like Brittany did. She could just stick around.
But what quality? What? Okay, so then that's where I would kind of like, what quality of lifestyle is your kid gonna have? What morals are your kid going to be raised with?
She got morals. She just want money with the morals.
You don't see anything wrong with that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
What's wrong with wanting money?
There's nothing wrong with wanting money, depending on how you're getting the money, though, right?
Marrying a man that got money?
I mean, baby trapping a man with money.
I mean, you're not baby trapping him. That's his penis. He needs to put on a condom.
Oh, no. Wow.
Okay. All right. I mean, if you're saying that,
I mean, when you put it like
that is a prop. I don't know. I find it hard to say like that's a great mindset to how I want to have a kid.
Then
Like,
you should wear a condom.
You should wear a condom, yes, for the guy's point of view.
And that's
But
period.
From her point of view, then it's not about the kid. It's more about I need to get the money. It's all about her.
In the video, she wants the money. I was
So
just
it's all
trying to
about-
say how she can get the money and a husband. I'm just
Well, yeah, she get the money, but not really. Yeah, okay, I get it. I just don't think it's a great way to raise a kid. I think it's a good way to have money for herself, which is what.
I mean, if she have a boy, she'd be good because she wouldn't raise her boy to be like that. Now, if she have a girl,
Oh yeah, that's.
roll
Anyway,
it
we're just tuning in. Welcome to CKQ Podcast Show. I'm Clemens, the host, and we are going to move on to the next question of the night. And that is going to be, do we as a society normalize unhealthy habits, including poor mental health, for fear of exclusion?
yes.
Oh, whoa. I got to do the second read again, man.
Oh,
Do we as a society normalize unhealthy habits, including poor mental health, for fear of exclusion?
yes.
Okay. All right. John, since you couldn't hold it back.
Yeah, we of course we just had a podcast about this. About fat shaming. Like people are trying to like build you up, and you know that's an unhealthy habit. But they don't want a fat person to feel excluded. All right. They do the same thing with other bad choices. Because we're on this whole kick about everybody needs to be a part. Everybody. I mean, I sent you a TikTok video. This woman had 38,000 likes. You understand me? 38,000 likes. And you know what she was doing in that video. Like she was.
Well, no one else knows. So no one else knows. So
what was she doing?
Man, she was rubbing food on her face and hair and
This was like an 80-year-old lady.
She was psychotic, bro. She was in a psychosis. And it was something that she kept repeating. I can't remember because I'm not looking at the video. I don't have it. And
it was a song.
Like 38,000 likes or something like that. I mean, why are you encouraging that? Like, why are you every time you hit that notification, that like, that is reinforcement. That is telling me to do this again.
You mute it, Chris.
That's telling me to do this again. And we do this all the time. Like we do this all the time, man. All the time. People, you get this dude that's like, nah, you know what? I'm not gonna go there. Go to the next person. Because I was about to go off on this other boy.
E-Black. What are we saying? What are we saying, bro?
I would almost say yeah, because back in high school or back in my younger years, you know, the people you're most attracted to are the wild ones. So yeah, I remember, you know, we all wanted to like the girl that was the loudest in the hallway, yelling, screaming, all that stuff. So
we didn't want her. We wanted to sleep with her, but we didn't want her.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in high school. You're not really thinking about anything beyond that.
That's true. You're right. That's
So I mean, I do think, you know, unhealthy habits and do make people, and like I said, the girl could be damn near psychotic, very emotional, You know, we all know the type.
So let me ask you this: going off of what you said, is it so much society or is it human nature for us to want that?
That's tough. I would almost say society, because we are judging it based on who else knows us. So you got that? Oh wow, she a hot firecracker. You know.
What? She's a what?
A hot firecracker. Am I being too old now? Am I being?
Yeah.
But we
I'm
are.
with you, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about, my boy. We graduated in the same era. I think I graduated before.
So we all know the girls that who all the guys wanted. She was the loudest, and that was a status figure. That was.
You pulled her.
Yeah, you pulled her. So I think definitely
the prize.
Yeah.
That's why women are the prize.
So
I wonder what Chris was gonna say because she was muted, but she was talking.
I was just agreeing with John. It's positive reinforcement when you hit the like button. That was all. Yeah, nothing deep.
Chris, keep your mic muted. You go next.
This is a really hard one. I agree with what both E Black and John said. But I think so. We're saying that do society normalize unhealthy habits kind of in other people out of fear of being excluded or of ourselves?
Out of other people.
Fear of being excluded.
So
I think that's something that's
other people. That's what you're saying, right? Clement?
Say it again.
So it's like you are essentially trying to normalize this other person's unhealthy behavior, including habits, including poor mental health, for fear that you will be excluded, and you don't want them to be excluded either, and you don't want to be excluded.
Oh, okay.
Or canceled or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, and in that case, I do agree. Especially, we see this especially in families. If a parent has a child that's autistic or has some other mental disorder, they'll tend to try and push that their child doesn't have any type of developmental.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah.
Yes, and I especially see this in the Black community, which is very interesting. My mom did daycare for many years, and she dealt with a lot of autistic children. And she would tell the parents, like, there's something's wrong. She can't diagnose a child, but she can say, I would recommend that you take your child to the doctor when they turn 3 years old. They can let you know if they're autistic. And the white parents will typically say, oh, shoot, I didn't notice. I'll take them. But the Black parents, the mother would the mother might be like, oh yeah, let me check. And they'll ask the father, and the father will say, no, they're fine. They're fine. And all the little things that they do that you typically see an autistic child, like they'll usually like hold on to certain toys all day, keep them in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
They may not speak immediately like other children.
Stereotyping behavior.
Yes, they get obsessed over certain things.
Or behaving like doing
repetition, rocking back and forth, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You would see it and they would normalize it. Like, oh no, that's just how they are. We had one little boy, he repeated numbers. He really liked numbers. So he'll count over and over again. And they would just say, oh, he's just really smart. And they finally got him diagnosed and he is autistic. And I see this a lot. And I saw this a lot growing up. My mom had the daycare, but we definitely do this because we don't want other parents to think that there's something wrong with our children. And we also don't want to feel like we're different or like someone else is different. It's very odd, but yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, my other master's is in applied behavioral analysis, and I have yet to see a Black child at any of the places. I'm serious. All the children were white. That's why they was like, autism affects the Black. I didn't know it affected the Black community like that. I had no idea. I had not seen one. All the ones I ever seen were white. Mm-hmm. The only one I seen one adult who was Asperger's, and that was it.
It's really sad. I saw it all the time.
It's
growing
like
up.
they make these kids learn how to become functioning. But you know what though? These children that
Wait,
are
wait, hold on to that. Hold on to that. I want to get Danielle because she hasn't answered yet, and then we'll go on. Go for it.
Absolutely. I love reality shows, and all of them have unhealthy habits. Rap music, R&B music, just music in general. These people are definitely rewarded and popularized and hailed.
So to
And
you, the
they
same
are-
question. To you, the same question I posed to E Black. Do you feel that it's a societal thing, or is it a natural human inclination to want to see those unhealthy habits?
I think it's both. I think society is who determines if they're going to be popular, because there's some people who come out doing stuff that they don't get popular, and some that do. It's just something about these people that become popular. And I think it's a personal thing too, because it's something inside of you that chooses these people that become popular. Cardi B, I don't know what it is inside of me that when I saw her on there talking about she was regular, degular, schmegula, just that whole little line, I was like, you know, I don't know.
And even though we all know they're bad habits, bad behaviors, we
Mhm.
still want to cheer it on.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Go ahead, Chris.
I wonder it seems like, sorry, let me backtrack. One thing that I noticed, at least when it comes to like mental disorders or special cases, the children tend to, like when you have children in the same room and some of them have autism, the other children react to this child as if they can tell something about that child is different, and they kind of accommodate the child. But as we get older, we want to hide the differences in that child and try to force them to be normal and to adapt. And I find that really interesting, like that transition into accepting them, accommodating them, versus wanting to change them and mold them into what you think they should be.
What should fit in with society?
Yeah,
You mean on the parents' part or in general?
in general. Because I was saying how, did you hear the beginning?
Yeah, I heard all of it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but all I know is that if you have a child has mental illness, depending on the mental illness and the behaviors, they should not be with regular kids. Like my son, he was in the class, and this boy had a mental illness, and I never even inquired about what it was, because just the stuff that he was doing was pissing me off, and they just let him stay in his class. My son came home and was like, such and such pulled his pants down and was rubbing on his stuff in front of everybody. And so I went to the principal, and he was like, oh, we talked to his mom about it. And I said, well, why is he in the class? My son said that he's not normal. And I'm just trying to figure out, why do y'all got him in this class with these kids? Like, y'all are abusing these kids, trying to accommodate this one kid, and y'all traumatizing these kids. My son was pissed off when he came home. If a kid could be pissed off, my son was pissed off that this little boy was pulling his stuff out and rubbing on it in front of the class. He was like, and there's girls in the class, and they all had to see his stuff, you know, and he was only in kindergarten. So I don't know.
I think I'm not a teacher. That's not my area. But if
You
I
from
may
an area that is not yours, you like the bomb.
didn't they stop excluding like special, like they don't say special ed anymore, I don't think.
They need to.
But they won't separate the kids from the general. They just come up with an individual education plan, IEP, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, then there you go, right here. That's a perfect example of what we're talking about.
Very disruptive.
That's not right.
The principal essentially wanted to say, no, he's fine. We talked to the parents, so it's going to be okay now. It's like, no, he's not going to be okay. No,
No,
this
she
is still
wasn't.
gonna keep
Because
happening.
by the time my son said something to me, it had already happened more than once.
Because this kid, whatever's going on with him, is his way of coping, and you don't know what his triggers are. Apparently, it's obvious they do not have a behavioral analyst at that school. And just because someone is a certified school psychologist, if you are not a BCBA, you do not know how to handle that behavior, because that is a behavior specifically that is a BCBA thing. Like, you have to know how to do a functional analysis. You have to be able to do all of these things, the behavioral interview, and come up with a BIP for that particular behavior. And it's not going on because his behavior is still going on. That's crazy. And they got him in the class with everybody else.
Yeah.
Black, what are your thoughts on this?
Everything is so political now. Like, everything. It's politics, and the military is political. I mean, everything is becoming political. Political.
I would ask John, do you believe, because I used to work for a guy in psychology, and do you believe in the term black psychologist?
The term black psychologist?
Or black psychology? Because essentially
I'm starting to.
Because psychology, from my understanding, is the study of the brain. But to study the brain, it's based on behavior, and most behavior is attributed through culture. So, of course, there's always that part of psychology. Of course, the rat and the cheese and the electric shock and all that stuff. That's fine. But then when you talk about going outside of that based on the culture. Like, for instance, Asian people are more attracted to the color red because of their cultural habits.
There is a research that I would like to do, because Maslow, who was Abraham Maslow, developed the hierarchy of needs. Right? These needs are supposed to be pretty much a roadmap to how you get to self-actualization. So, and it's basically, you can't solve one before the other. And I put a lot of emphasis on on that particular one there, because Adler and a lot of other ones come up with self-actualization models, but his was very unique, because before you can get to the next level, and this is real deep, before you can get to the next level, you have to solve this level. So we have to solve for food, water, shelter first before we can move and worry about the next level up, right? Yeah. Which would be security. And then before you can solve for relationships, you got to have a secure job, home, and all these things. But I believe in the Black community that hierarchy may be a little different. I don't believe that it's exactly that model. I think it may be altered a little bit. And if it is altered a little bit, that would explain why certain things and certain decisions that we as a people make, that would explain the behaviors that you see. That would explain why we may be following the wrong model. We may not be following the model we should be following.
Because with that, because I've taken one psychology class. That was it. So I'm not, but I remember there's an ethos and and what's the other term? A pathos, but it's the motivation. Yeah, these are the motivating factors of behavior, right? Or the
psyche.
Mm-hmm.
I'm you
were going.
I'm waiting for you to go.
Yeah, you were.
I'm sorry. So I was making.
I'm like, okay, yeah.
That's a cute pose.
Froze?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
I'm about to say.
You were frozen, bro.
You were frozen.
We didn't hear a single thing.
Oh man, I seen my screen go all crazy. I was like, I got that P-Ray. But yeah, those things are in the Black community. Our ethos and pathos are different from most communities, and I think they should be addressed as much. You know, other than the normal, you know, African Americans are traditionally have less body fat, so they may not need certain pills, you know, things like that. So I do think from the behavioral standpoint, we do need to be addressed differently based on our culture.
I don't think the ours is really any different. I think it's the same. I think the difference in Black people and the rest of society is that we are not actually living. We are surviving.
Ooh,
And those hierarchies.
You about to get on the part I was about to come in with. Go on with it. Go on then.
The hierarchy are for people who are living and thriving, and Black people haven't. Well, Black people who are in poor neighborhoods are not living and thriving. They are surviving, and so they are not looking forward to the future.
And
we're happy to just live.
Wait, hold on, John. Hold on, John. Let her finish.
They're not looking or planning for the future, because I mean, when you talk to them, they don't even think that they will make it there. That's come if they get a high school diploma, which some of them don't. They happy with that, and they stop there because they like, shoot, I didn't even think I was gonna get to this. Like, it takes them a while before they can even think beyond that, because they did not think that they would make it to that point. So I think that if we could get Black people out of the mindset of surviving and get them to live and thrive, they would still follow the same things.
I want to piggyback off Danielle. Somebody who's got access to Google. Clement, are you on Google pretty quick? Can you Google something real quick?
Sure.
All right, Google Stockholm syndrome real quick, and then read the definition out loud.
All right. If you can keep talking with your point while I'm doing that, so it's
okay. So one of the things to point to what Danielle was talking about, Stockholm. I think a majority, and going back to Black, when you say stuff that's passed on culturally, right? So the Black community as a whole has been severely traumatized. And that trauma has passed through all the generations from when it first started. Okay. And at this point, Blacks are typically, whether you know it knowingly or unknowingly, you are identifying with your captor.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the last time you based a decision off of what a white person thought it should be. How many times have you heard you want a white doctor instead of a Black doctor?
That's the 100 monkey theory, right? Where the original one monkey got traumatized, and then he taught the other trauma to the other. Yeah. And then next thing you know, nobody knows why you don't go cross the red line, because essentially we're passing along.
Only one monkey was actually shocked, and everyone else went off the reaction of that one monkey getting shocked.
And it's been passed down through all of our here's the thing. Your grandparents, great grandparents, they probably never thought that, you know, it was an achievement if you could just go to school, right? That was a big deal. Then you know what she said. Well, a lot of Black kids don't even. Why? Because you're told that you're inferior on every level. Like, you're told that you're not good enough on every level. So when you feel like you're not good enough, eventually you want to prove to everybody that you are good enough, that you do belong, that you can do this. So what happens? But when Black people get money, they want to prove that they belong and prove. We spend frivolously. We buy shit that we shouldn't be buying. We are trying to fulfill this internal we're trying to validate this internal negativity that you should just be trying to validate for you and make yourself better, but it's not like that. Clement, did you look that up? Read what that said. What did that say? Under Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome is an emotional response. It happens to some abuse and hostage victims when they have positive feelings toward an abuser or captor.
That's what I'm saying. You got young Black girls want to put their hair blonde. They kinky hair is not good enough. They want it straight. Where do you think this shit is coming from? Where do you think that's coming from? Like, dudes are putting they want to drive the big fancy cars. dude, I want to get me a BMW, I want to get a Mercedes. Bro, you make $40,000 a year. The damn oil change is $128 every damn time you get paid. You barely can't keep it up. Why would you want that car? Like, you're not a six-figure earner. It's okay, bro. Like, why are you spending that kind of money? Like, why are you only focusing on having your son and then focus on these things right here? Like, a black father will ignore a son who's smart and put all his time in a damn son who's athletic. This son got behavior problems. He'll excuse away these behavior problems. This son over here is a good son. He just wasn't athletic, don't care about it. He's just real smart though. But you will minimize his talents in the books and then glorify your son who gets in trouble. But everybody, guess what? Everybody is covering for him because he's that guy. He's that beast. But one day that covering is going to stop. He's going to do something that can't nobody cover for him. And now you got a whole different problem. Just as a people, you ain't never noticed why most black people have bad credit? You never noticed that? I'm talking about it's nationwide. It's not just in one particular state. This nationwide, most black people have bad credit. Why? And it's not that you don't know. You overcompensate. It's the way you spend. And the way you spend, you can't pay the bill on time. That's how you end up with the bad credit. Because you're trying to live up to and make the master like you. You want them to like you. You want to identify with them. Like, period. But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's addressing that. You don't see any psychologists talking about it. I haven't. Why not? You should, because that's what happened. You think you can just erase people getting beat, men getting raped, and that shit getting passed down from generations? Like, you think we don't hear the stories? Yeah, we got told stories. These stories was passed down through time because they wanted us to know how to react around them. Now you got kids getting shot by police. These cops is overreacting and shooting people 14 and 15 times because you scared. And some of y'all racist. It's still going on. But that's trauma. That is affecting this little child who knows his cousin got killed. This is affecting this dad whose son got killed. And you wonder why black girls act the way they do. You wonder why when white people suggest something, we jump on the bandwagon. Because you want to be accepted. That whole homosexuality thing, that's not a black thing. It's never been a black thing. It's still not a black thing. But it's trying to become one.
Feminism.
Rappers. All of they going through rappers. They got, okay, if the rappers can't do it, we're going to get the basketball players to do it. Russell Westbrook out here wearing a dress and some boots.
Yeah.
Why are they after the black kids so bad? They did a survey in Africa, in the African countries, just in research. And they only asked one question. They sent it out through Europeans and through the African nations, right? It was, do you believe homosexuality should exist in society? I would have said yes to that. Because I ain't saying it shouldn't exist. I'm just saying don't affect children by pushing your beliefs off on them. 90% of Europeans countries said yes. America was 57% said yes. No, 47% said yes. So it's a silent majority. When you do an anonymous survey, you get the truth. African countries, So the highest one amongst those countries was 7% said yes. 7%. 93% say absolutely not. That was thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of opinions.
Okay, but just asking if you think that they should exist in society.
Yeah, that's all. That's the only question.
I don't think that means that they're not gay, because it's gay people who don't like gay people.
Nah, he just said, should it exist in society? That was the only question.
I'm
and
saying,
I would have said yes.
To say that it's not a black thing.
Chris,
no, it's not that's not a black thing. What I'm saying is, we have never been we have never been people who supported that. We realized that it was not. The research is out. It's no big secret. There's no genetic factors that cause it, right? And no matter how many more research they're going to do with big old twin studies, it's going to see the same thing. Black people have never accepted that, and they still don't, because the research now is that most kids, when they come out in their Black family, they're going to get ostracized. They're going to get, you either change or get put out. Like, they just don't accept it. And Europeans are the ones who really accept, like, that's their thing. They like it. That's what they do. That's why 90% on that survey was 90% of them was like, oh yeah, of course. But in Africa, no, hell no, it should not exist in society. Blah, blah, blah. Whether you do or you don't, that's your business. But as far as like being outward and open with it, they didn't agree with that. Only 8%.
So you're not saying that you're not saying that they're not gay, that Black people aren't gay. You just saying that we don't outwardly want to show the gayness.
Oh yeah, everybody, it's a whole because I was just in Africa that's gay. Well, I don't know what part of Africa, but I know there's a whole tribe that's gay. But we don't. It's not like something that we celebrate.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about it. There's a whole gay tribe in Africa. like the visuals is crazy, man. I'm just thinking of like I don't know whether I want to go Wakanda or Shaka Zulu. I'm just like I'm going crazy with the aspect. What's going on?
Mr. Hall of Fame, what's going on?
What's going on, CKQ? What's going on, John? What's going on? Chris, the woman, Ebony, how's it going, sister? Danielle, yeah, the D, Super D. Eat Black TV, my guy.
What up, my guy?
What's going on, man? Man, I usually don't agree with John with some things, but he's spot on with this one, man. Like, the stuff that's going on is ridiculous, man, and it's got to stop. It's really got to stop. Like, the trauma and just the things that's going on with them targeting our kids, man, it's just crazy, man. I hate seeing it. I hate seeing the fact that they have to target kids with different agendas and different lifestyles that the kids themselves aren't even aware of. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was just play and have fun. I don't know what kid didn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking about, no orientations or anything like that. I mean, I thought girls were cute, but that's as far as it went. You know what I mean? It didn't go beyond that. So, yeah, it's just crazy how they just have all these agendas set up to target children, man. It's sad. It's sad to see, It used to be certain things known as adult content. You only could find certain adult content in magazines, or you had to buy a magazine or sneak and go watch a little tape that you ain't supposed to be watching. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Sneak under your granddaddy's dresser.
Stay up at the 12 o'clock and watch HBO.
Find that blur.
Now they don't. Start messing with the antenna, trying to get Cinemax late night to come in.
Yeah, you gotta find that one blurry channel. That's like
that one blurry channel. Yeah. That like teenagers. That was later on. And then you have to watch.
It will come. It'll give you 2 minutes. It'll give you.
It's like half a second, bro. It's like half a second. But that's half a second of your life, all right?
Best half a second of your life as a teenage boy. You're like, oh my
God. Maybe it's in slow motion for me. I'm watching it in slow motion, like ooh, and it's just slow motion. So it may have been 2 seconds.
To you, yeah. To you.
Yeah.
Man, if we had camera phones back then, oh my God.
No.
Forget about it.
Can't do that.
Yeah, prison would be full if we had camera phones back.
So, Mr. Hall of Fame, what do you think about this question? Do we as society normalize unhealthy habits, including poor mental health, for fear of exclusion? What do you think about that?
I think we do normalize a lot of unhealthy habits. But I think it's all based on fear and insecurity. You know what I'm saying? It's all based on fear and insecurity, and just the lack of, especially in the urban communities. Like I said, I always say it's a lack of real men leading in the household. You know what I'm saying? You have certain households that do have real men, like E Black. Shout out to E Black as a father. I gotta give you your flowers, brother, most definitely. You know what I mean? But there's not a lot of that. There isn't a lot of that. And I didn't grow up like that. A lot of other brothers didn't grow up like that. So a lot of my friends, they that grew up without both parents. You know what I'm saying? I only could think of maybe a few, and one of them is my brother, but we're not like related blood wise. But that's about it. You know what I mean? Like most of us ain't grow up with both parents, so when you got a lot of that going on, and it's a generational thing that carries on from generation to generation. Of course, there's a lot of unhealthy habits, you know, and it changes the dynamic of how men and women treat each other. And what it causes is man versus woman, which is not supposed to be, because both men and women need each other. You know what I mean? Undoubtedly, a man needs a woman needs a man. There's neither one is better than the other one, all that stuff. They both have issues. They both stink after a while. We both need to take a shower. We both, need to use the bathroom. We both need food. We both bleed. We both, and we got a lot of good things too. I mean, I'm just naming just regular stuff, but yeah, we both get tired. We both are happy. We both are sad. We both feel emotions. Like, we process emotions differently, but she has estrogen. You got testosterone. That's really about it. You both are human beings, and you both need each other at the end of the day. So
that's pretty good. I like what King Gene said. King Gene, shout out to you in the comments over there. I see you. Society normalized single parent homes led by single mothers.
That's bad, and that's another example, and it leads to mental health issues later on with those children.
Yep.
See, mental health does not have to be schizophrenia, bipolar, all this. It can just be slight. It can be a personality disorder. It can be something that is not outwardly. You look at this person and say, well, there's nothing wrong with them. But then you talk to them and find out how they believe. And it's just, you just know that you grew up without a mom or you grew up without a dad. You can just tell because of what their belief system is. So that's how they work in society. That's how they behave in society based off of these things. Yep. I'm not saying that a woman can't raise a child by herself. She can, obviously, but that child will have some things that they have to deal with. And that's just a fact. That is a bona fide fact, especially if it's a boy being raised by his mom. There's going to be a factor that's there because no one, he's going to go wondering what he needs to do to fill the role of man. So when he's trying to figure this out and he's approached by the 19-letter people, right? Oh, really? Or some other left-wing, some other real liberal person saying that, oh, you shouldn't be aggressive. You shouldn't be assertive. Like that is just hyper masculine. And this kid is learning to be soft. This kid is learning to not be assertive. So then what happens? Well, I try to date, but women don't date me. Well, why don't women date him? Because he's been taught to be non-aggressive, not assertive. So he thinks that women just don't like him. So now he's questioning some things. So now when this 19-letter people come back, well, have you ever considered this? Well, no, I don't know. Should I? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And now your ass been recruited. And once you go down that line, that's how, and it sounds far.
Now your ass being recruited.
Yeah, you've been recruited. And all of that.
I'm childish. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so childish.
It's all good.
And that's how it happens. Man, you ought to see some of them little kids. Did you ever watch Higher Learning?
Yep.
Okay, tell me about the white boy.
Yeah.
He's trying to fit in everywhere, right?
Yes.
And what his ass ended up doing? He ended up shooting at folks, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But he just wanted to fit in, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what's the difference between the skinhead and the 19-letter people? Nothing. That man wasn't racist. He didn't believe how they believe. But when you're trying to find yourself, we are sociable creatures. And if nobody socialized, he went to the blacks. They didn't want him. He went to other whites. They didn't want him. He went to the radical whites. They saw it was a flunky. Come on in. He a dummy. Let's get this lane. We'll get him to do this. And sure enough, that's what he did. And it works. It works
Just
across
for-
a lot of different areas. You see it working with young black kids who join gangs, and you see it working white kids who join Nazi people, and it works also with them 19-letter people. 19-letter people, it works the same way with them too. They will prey off your vulnerability. Why do you think they put so much literature out and putting all these little visual programmings into shows? You think that's a coincidence? That's intentional. They're trying to, in psychological terms, they're trying to lower your level of dissonance.
Tolerance.
So that
Yeah.
exactly, because internally you feel like, yep. But if you see it enough, you be like, oh, man, ain't nothing. I don't really care about this. No big deal. But why are you showing it to children?
You know, it's funny. I was actually thinking about the lyrics to, I don't know why it popped in my head, but 50 Cent. It was like, the song is like, coming up, I was confused, my mama kissing a girl. Or, I don't
Yeah,
know.
you got it. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, but that's about all I remember, honestly.
Daddy
But I
wasn't
just found
around,
that,
probably got them in the felonies. You seen check out my melody. Yeah, I remember that song.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
Hate
but
It or Love It. Hate It or Love It.
hated to love it, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just found that beginning so interesting, where it's kind of like, damn, 50 Cent, but even him as a kid, he would be confused and like questioning where he fits in life. It's kind of like if you're growing up, it's kind of like, well, this is, I guess, is this normal? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? So should I be going after the same sex too, like my mom is? Is that what's normal?
That's what you start questioning. That's the kind of questions you have, because the kid is born with a blank slate. A kid knows what you give him. If a kid don't know, a kid is not born into this world with these type of thoughts. You understand what I'm saying? Like, a kid is not born knowing English. A kid is not born knowing any language. If you get a child that was raised by wolves, it will be a wolf. It will act like a wolf. It will bark like a wolf. It will, and if it happens after, and if it stay with the wolves into past 12 or 13, it will never learn English ever. Like, never learn how to speak like a human ever. And it takes years before they can even walk upright again. Years. It's a girl in Russia, right? Well, in Ukraine, she still don't walk upright. She still run around on with her hands on the ground. She got calluses all over her hands. Hands look like dog paws for real. That's what she was doing. That's what she's used to. So this whole idea, well, you're born, you ain't born no kind of way, bro. You born with certain predispositions and phenotypical expression through your genetics and your temperament. Outside of that, you learn everything else. Nurture comes into play. You got predispositions to be overweight. You got predispositions to be hypermasculine, hypersexual. And if the environment is right, then it might show up. Only if the environment is right. Everything else, though, you have to learn. Nurture takes over. And that's what you get at the end of the day. How you were nurtured is what you see.
I like that. On that note, Mr. Hall of Fame, do you have any closing comments? Any questions to the panel?
Most definitely. You can put the spotlight on me. You know what I mean? I can roll out. Yeah.
Man. Okay. Well, let's give you the spotlight, and you'll ask for it next time.
No problem. I am the network manager for knowledge and relationships. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you, CKQ, and everybody on the panel for having me on here. I definitely appreciate all of you. And yes, I do believe that we do have to do a better job of just checking in with everyone, with ourselves, and with each other. With that, peace and love, y'all. Later.
Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for coming. All right. So let's close out for the night with the last question. Can people actually take time out to work on themselves mentally without a professional? Can people actually take time out to work on themselves mentally without a professional? E-Black.
I wouldn't suggest that. I think you definitely need. I would definitely get yourself with somebody who's trained in the ways that you are feeling uncomfortable mentally. Like I said, there's so much to in terms of mental health. Like social anxiety is different from depression. So, it's make sure that you're getting a professional that specializes in that form of discomfort or mental health that you don't or you're experiencing. So, yeah, I wouldn't suggest that. I do think in you taking out time to work on yourself is good for everybody. But like I said, if it's specifically for mental issues or for how you feel, I would definitely consider it because there's only so much time before you get warped by other ideologies. You might go through a crystal rubbing phase, and you might go through a tarot card reading phase. You might go through a yelling at the moon phase. All this stuff, all while you're searching for yourself, and all that stuff is just gonna get you down the road to where you're gonna have to see a professional anyway to get down to the core issues. And you might have to take some medicine, or you might not. It might just be therapy. Because that's another thing that I don't think we kind of mentioned is that, there is psychiatrists which prescribe medicine, but the therapist is somebody who can help you kind of guide that space of mental health. So, learning the industry of, I guess, mental health and trying to figure out where you fit in terms of that. And then that should be your main focus, because you'll get the vastness of mental health is almost overwhelming. So, and usually a lot of the people are looking to take advantage of you with drugs, alcohol, sex, a whole bunch of other stuff. So,
Danielle?
I think so. I mean, we just said at the beginning of this, just because you're going to see a therapist or a psychologist or psychiatrist, no. But a psychologist or a therapist don't mean that it's something necessarily it shouldn't have to be something wrong with you, So if you're just feeling a little down or whatever it is that you're feeling, you definitely should be in tune with yourself enough to check yourself. I'm feeling this way. Take a moment to sit by yourself and say, well, what am I actually feeling? Okay, well, this is what I'm feeling. Why am I feeling like that? Okay, well, if this is why I'm feeling that way, how can I fix that? You can absolutely take yourself through those steps. Now, if you're going through those steps and you find that it is something more, then absolutely, you need to go seek a professional. But if it's not something too big, yes, you can see your way through that yourself. I mean, I have had to sit by myself since I've been in this relationship. Okay, I have to think a lot before I speak because, I'm emotional. And when the wind blows, I'm irritated. So I have to sit and think, okay, well, what am I actually feeling?
Oh,
Okay, this is what I'm feeling. Why I'm feeling like that? Is that something I need to say something about? Is it actually something wrong, or is that just something I'm tripping about? I'm constantly self-reflecting and checking myself. So, yeah.
John?
my answer is a cross between E Black and Danielle, but it's
Sitting on the fence?
well, no, it's a cross. It's a mixture of both. Like I'm gonna agree with Danielle that you can, but I also agree with E Black saying you probably need to seek professional help. And the only reason I say that is because if you don't know how to identify what it is, and you can't tell the difference between sadness and depression, for instance, like let's say you are a person who you may not shower on the weekend. Like that's your thing. I know a lot of people that don't shower at least one day out of the weekend. Like they might shower up on Sunday, but they didn't shower Friday night or Saturday all day. Well, what happened Monday? Did you still not shower? Like if you can't recognize these early stages of acute depression, then you probably can't get yourself out of it. And then what is your remedy? Because I treat myself. Like I suffer from, I'm telling you, I have called really close friends crying. I suffer from PTSD, and when I get a lot of stress, I was in 2 graduate, I'm in a dual private program right now that's left over, and I have a lot of work to do, a lot. And sometimes it just feel I get overwhelmed, and I was in tears. I was crying, and then I noticed I didn't. I went like 4 or 5 days, and I ain't took no shower. It was back during COVID. The gym wasn't open. I was starting to eat a lot. I was building myself a comfort zone. I had a table right there by the couch, ashtray, drink, everything was right there. I noticed I really don't have to get up for nothing. And I was like, man, I think the gym needs to open back up. And when the gym finally did open back up, I was starting to have heart pains and stuff like that. So I started back working out. I know that I have to work out for the rest of my life because that's what keeps my chemicals balanced. I get into a chemical imbalance whenever I have a lot of stress. I'm under a lot of stress. I get chemically imbalanced and I start falling into a depression. But when I work out and produce those endorphins, I don't feel like that. I don't want to go out. I don't want to go nowhere. I think it was one day I was talking to Clement. I was like, I'm starting to feel like I don't want to go nowhere, but I've been working out and stuff. I said, you know what? I'm just going to hop off here. I'm going to go for a ride. So I went and I hung out in the hood for a little while. I even posted a TikTok video and I started to feel better. So I faced it. So rather than, because this is what I would tell a client to do, like go and face it. Just go, leave the house right now, go do it. And I ended up feeling better. So if you know and you can do an honest introspection and you ain't gonna just brush it off, then I agree with Danielle. You can do it yourself. But if you don't understand or you're not gonna do an honest introspection of yourself, then you need to seek professional help. That's my take.
Yeah, because that was going to be my later question, which is how can you diagnose what you don't even know how to look for? Like you can't, like trying to catch a fish when you don't even know what that fish eats, what kind of bait you're going to need to catch that fish, But Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. When you're learning femininity, you learn this thing called the art of being unbothered. And a part of that is knowing yourself so well that even if someone says something to you, you don't get triggered by it because you've already done that healing and it doesn't apply to you. One thing so I agree that you should seek professional help. I see it this way. You go to a therapist when you need help in the now and in the past. If you're moving into the future, that's when you start looking to like a life coach, someone who can help you plan moving forward. So someone working on their femininity would go to like a femininity expert, guru, a dating professional. And so you basically want somebody who's going to help you move forward, because when you go to therapy, it can be temporary unless you have an ongoing condition that requires you to have regular check-ins. But if you're going just to kind of check on your mental state, it should be temporary and you should have a plan after that. But you don't necessarily have to continue seeing this professional to continue working on yourself. You're going there just so they can help you understand your reality, because your past and your present shapes how you see the entire world. And it's different for each one of us. And so when you go to a therapist, they help you to understand why you see things the way that you see them. And they may give you a certain name for something that you're going through. Like, for example, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And for so long, I knew that there was something off, but I just didn't know what it was. And so going to a therapist helped me to kind of fill in that gap. But I don't continue going to the therapist to work on that necessarily. I actually found healing through femininity, if that makes sense. And so you have to start somewhere. That's why I tell everyone you need to go to a therapist, whether or not you can afford it. I can't really help you with that, but you need to, because we all have a past that has led us to this exact moment that you need to unpack at some point, because every decision you make going forward has been influenced by something in your past.
Yep.
And so it's a yes and no. You need to start with a professional, figure out what's going on, figure out who you are, what your emotions are. Something as simple as knowing when you're irritated versus knowing when you're angry will change your entire life. And so you know how to deal with those emotions So when you're spiraling, when if you have anxiety, when you're gonna have a panic attack. So you can call somebody, you can have a plan around that. That's usually what they would help you do. But moving forward, you need to know how to apply. How can you use that anxiety? It's not going anywhere, but you go to a life coach to figure out, okay, what jobs can I do with my anxiety? How would my anxiety fit in being a wife, a mother? You have to know how these things are going to evolve.
Yeah.
Going
A
forward.
lot of times anxiety is nothing more than nervous energy. Unharnessed.
Well, yeah, but then you still can get into manic attacks. So, I mean, I'd still say, because a lot of times you don't, especially what I've noticed, because mental health is very close to me. You don't realize that like your family has sometimes schizophrenic people, and those traits do skip over 2 generations to another generation.
That's something different. Yeah, I ain't all right. That's serious. That you got levels.
but it does start off. But people got the reason why I say secret profession, because it does start off as, in certain cases, as depression. Then it leads into anxiety. Then it leads into sometimes bipolar schizophrenia and full blown schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So there is a progression, and if you're not, and like these are like, you'd be surprised how many functional individuals are schizophrenic or bipolar. So, like I said, you sometimes have to go to a professional and say, "Hey, I'm going up and down. I don't know," or because you don't want to wait till too late until you're butt naked running down the street.
Yeah,
like you don't even know, like. No, seriously, I've seen people with manic depressive states, and you don't recognize them, and it's not because of drugs necessarily. Sometimes it's literally they wake up, they're confused, or dazed, and they're just.
And I'm with you on that one. Now that is serious. That is, I don't know if you knew this, but people who, if you want to end up dead, if you around somebody that's manic depressant, it can happen. I'm telling you, that's where your murder suicides come from.
Yeah.
A manic depressant.
And you don't, and like I said,
yeah, I'm serious. Heart attack.
But that was not a serious bell. That was a serious
All right, I got you.
Those dudes who commit those school shootings and they kill themselves, they didn't kill themselves because they fear going to jail. They killed themselves because they was gonna kill themselves that day, and this was their big hurrah. This is how they chose to do it.
Oh my God!
Everyone's gonna finally look at me.
Doing what?
You never know what somebody's thinking. That's why I'm saying, man. Parenting is so important for your child's self-image. Man, you destroy your child's self. Like, you don't. I'm a dad, and I got boys, and I like to play rough with my boys. But when I was little, when they were little, I would make sure, because I play with them at 10 months old. Like, I play rough. I'll roll them around on the floor and get them riled up, and then they start grabbing my hand and trying to fight back, and I'll roll them over on top of me and let them start popping me in the face with they taking their little hands going like this. I said, "Oh, okay, stop," to make him feel like he win. And my girl was like, "Man, that baby don't know." Oh, really? Watch this. I did it for about 2 weeks. Then I come to him. As soon as I touch him, he fighting back. And then if I put him on top of me, he automatically just beat me in the wire because he's confident. But if you do the same thing with that same baby, you do that same little thing, and you never let him win, he won't never fight back. He gonna think because he already know the outcome. And that's at 10 months. So imagine you slapping your son upside the head, cussing him to everything but a child of God, pushing him, always got to win, or you're a dad that's overzealous, you don't never let him win at nothing. Like, especially you being physical with him. He's growing this, you making him scared of you because you need that. You personally need that because you probably scared of him on what he's going to turn and you grow into. But you killing his manhood. You are destroying his confidence
making him the first.
Wonder why he getting
first,
bullied
second
at school.
place.
You wonder why he getting bullied at school. You wonder why he won't stand up for himself because you killed that. You took all of it out of him when he was a little kid. You beat it out of him.
Let Chris go.
I was listening to Jordan Peterson, and he was saying that he played rough with his children so they could understand pain and like the limits of the human body. And I wonder if that plays into that as well. Like, if you continue to tell your child, like, "Oh, you're never going to beat me," like I'm basically saying I'm, what's the word I'm looking for?
Superior.
Yes, or impenetrable, sort of. You teach your child that humans don't have limitations, and when they grow up and they have certain limitations, it makes them feel insecure, like they're not good enough. So they keep pushing the limits and keep pushing it until they feel like they've succeeded.
Interesting.
And that's why when boys grow up without a dad, they don't have a benchmark. So they don't know. So they grow up, they choose things that push the limits. They play sports. They try to engage in things that it's going to challenge them and to see where they are. They don't have a benchmark. Like they need to bump into dad. They need to wrestle with dad. They need to feel that so they can kind of see where they are in their development. Like little boys need that. And when they don't have that, I know there's the way it was for me. I didn't have that benchmark. So I wanted to be in all the dangerous stuff that was in the military. Volunteered to go to war. I was out the military when that 9/11 happened, and I went back in. I wanted to make sure I went with a special ops unit, and I wanted to make sure that they were going to deploy to Afghanistan because now I want to test everything I've been taught.
We got a quick question. Stanley John, earlier you said that Maslow's hierarchy of needs might be switched around for Black people. Do you mind expounding on that?
Oh, yeah, sure. I guess what I should have said was in certain areas, I believe that Blacks in low income areas have a different hierarchy of needs, because if you look at it, we have a different way of solving for each one of those levels. So is security before finding a part of finding a job? Is that part right there, or is it before that? Like in the hood, security is defined differently. So like security for some people is defined as me having a house and a stable job. But if you live in a dangerous environment, security could be your name recognition. Security could be who you're affiliated with. Those things give you security. So if that is different, then how you choose and go about your life is going to be totally different. So like if it's more important for me to be considered tough and not to be messed with, then I'm going to aspire to get that first before I worry about a job or any of those other things. And you see that. You see a lot of Black guys that in the low income areas, they tatted up, they look a certain way, they affiliated with these groups over here, but then they try to go and get a job. Why is that? And then they have a hard time getting a job because you look the part that you was trying to look. Congratulations, you succeeded because you look scary as hell, and I'm not sure you're not violent. So that's what I was meaning. Certain parts of it.
Stanley, you're still there. I hope that helped.
Yeah. I mean, it's much more longer than we have on the show, because it's something I thought about for a while.
But other than that, guys, do you have any other questions? Men to the ladies, ladies to the men, anyone on the panel? Do you have any questions before we close out the panel or comments?
I have a quick question for Danielle. When you were growing up, or I guess anyone on the panel actually, were you told that it wasn't good to cry? Like, did you ever feel like you shouldn't cry because being sensitive was a bad thing?
I was.
No. I heard that more as an adult, actually. Like when COVID started. So I have friends that well, they were already single parents and struggling and having a hard time. So then COVID happened, so it made it extremely stressful for them. And so a lot of people, since they are alone, they use like social media to cry out and just get rid of how they were feeling, to just be able to talk to somebody. And so I had a friend, well, she's not a friend, she's just a person on Facebook. And no, I mean, really, because I use the word friend a lot just because I don't be really knowing what to call a person. But who?
Acquaintance.
Not really acquainted with this person either.
Oh, okay.
They just on Facebook. So it's just the girl. We went to school together, but we don't know each other like that no more. But anyway,
your pen pal. There you go.
Okay, but she was complaining about people complaining on Facebook, and I was like, "What is wrong with you? Like telling people that they can't complain, like they already have it hard, like you don't know what they're going through. They need to express themselves. They need to get out." I was so frustrated on her post that then I went on my Facebook and I was making a live about it. And then when she came on there, I literally started to cry because I was so angry at that she had the audacity to be telling these people how to be feeling and how to express their emotions. So then she went back on her page and was like, oh no, while she was on there, she was like, you just sensitive. I was like, actually, I am sensitive. I'm very sensitive to people and their emotions and what they're going through. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not about to make me feel bad because I feel bad about what somebody else is going through. Like, it's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. And that post actually popped up on my Facebook page. And I thought about you, Chris, because you talked about being vulnerable. And that was my exact question on my Facebook page, was for the Black women, like, are you okay being vulnerable? Is there something wrong with that? Because this girl really tried to shame me for being vulnerable. And they was like, well, in this instance, you should be. And in that instance, you should be. And my answer was, I'm vulnerable all the time. Whatever I'm feeling, I am willing to share my feelings because I've never been shamed growing up about feeling anything. What I feel was always validated. And they were always willing to listen. So I hear it more because, and I think it's because now as an adult, my world is more open to having to hear other people's opinions. Whereas as a kid, I didn't have that. You know, we didn't have social media and things like that. So I just make sure that I tell my boys that it's okay to cry. Like, go ahead and cry. Go sit down. Let me know what you're crying about. We need to know what you're crying about. How are you feeling? And we got to talk it out. I'd rather walk them through it. So I was never shamed, and I try my best not to shame my kids.
And see, that's the area.
The men on the panel, what do you think of that?
I mean, I got to work on. It's not, I can be vulnerable. That's not a thing to a point. Like, let me see the best way to put this. So, like, I can tell you, hey, this is bothering me. Like, I'm not ashamed to tell you something. That's what I mean when I say vulnerable. And when I feel overwhelmed, I do cry. But you won't hear me cry about a problem. Like, that's not going to happen. Because there's one, if I can't solve the problem, crying about it ain't going to make the motherfucker go away. So I ain't no need to crying there. I focus all my energy on trying to fix that problem, like solving that problem. If I have to go play 50 games of chess and while I'm thinking about that problem, then I'll do that. But that's how I do it. And I'll try to solve the problem. And I'm not very understanding. If you cry about a problem, like, what's the solution? We know what the damn problem is. What's the solution? I don't know. Okay, well, let's try to work on that. Dry your tears up and let's work on solving the damn problem. Because crying about it ain't getting shit done. You get your makeup running every damn where. Go get a hanky and calm down. I got you. All right.
You're mean. No.
Yeah, I swear. So I was really, I know I need to work on being, I guess, a little more understanding when it comes to that. But I just don't believe in, if it's a problem, fix the problem, man. I don't want to keep hearing about it. Over and over. I don't want to keep hearing about it. Like,
that's how I think about it. If you're gonna
cry, solve it, or
crying is a waste of time.
Either we gonna figure out a plan to damn solve it, or we gonna run from that motherfucker. But we gonna figure out something. I ain't gonna keep.
You're moving in a direction.
We
You gotta
moving
be
in
moving
the damn direction, the
Yeah,
right way
yeah.
or the wrong way. But we're gonna do it 100
a way.
either way. But we ain't gonna sit here and wallow in it. That's what we ain't gonna do.
I agree, 100%. It's probably not the healthiest, but hey, it gets you the results.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't think men enjoy the luxury of being vulnerable, and that's why a lot of times our mental health issues do kind of get cascaded under the rug because essentially we don't have that luxury, and we're hard wired for the world's worst. You know, we have to fight the wars. We have to raise the children. We have to do the things, build the country, you know. So essentially society does not lend itself to the vulnerability of a man, which is why you have to surround yourself in all phases of life with people that you can be. That's why when I go to church, you know, I'm vulnerable. I can be vulnerable at church with, you know, my spiritual people. When I go, I'm at home, I'm vulnerable with my wife, but that's still to an extent, you know, and then
Saying that.
you know, but
Well,
still,
again, I don't know, but I am assuming that still has to be as a man to an extent.
yeah,
Why?
that is,
Yeah, to an extent.
yeah, to an extent.
Because if you're too vulnerable, you're gonna lose the attraction that you have. She gonna lose that attraction in you. You can't be too vulnerable. Mess
Yeah,
around and too vulnerable, be like a big wimp. Like I don't know what
Have
the
you-
hell happened to my husband.
Have you ever got on a plane and a pilot's like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it
I've done
today.
this 20 times, but
You know, you want,
I don't know.
you know, I'm not feeling good. I had this this is 737. Dang, I only got trained in 757. You know, it's like vulnerability is not, you want to be, when you're especially in a relationship, you want the man to at least let you know that you're headed in the right direction. You know, there is certain things in which, like I said, I can be vulnerable in, but for the most part, I try to keep most of it under wraps, which does, like I said, you know, attribute to other, like I said, mental issues. It does attribute to depression. It does, because a lot of men, especially married men, you know, we're so focused on ensuring the household is being built up that we lose self. And then you never know what happens. Sometimes you can have a psychotic break to where you feel as if you're not being treated. Because a lot of times, man, I'll just be rude. Just a lot of times as a man, I just feel like, okay, I'm just here just for y'all. Y'all don't really care about me.
Yeah, no one has to care.
You know, y'all really don't care. Like it's all good. I'm here, but you know, I'm more than just my paycheck. I'm more than just great sex. I'm more than just, you know,
Not great sex. Oh Lord.
We were just talking about that. We were just talking about that 2-minute TV. Get out of here with that great sex, okay?
Stop the cap.
All right.
Wait,
What's
so
the-
like, does your wives not go, how are you today? Are you feeling okay? Like,
Yeah.
and
I
if they're
do not.
asking, then are you not allowed to not know?
It's not that it's a fine balance. It's a fine balance. You want like I said, most women and most, what I've learned is that most women want to know that they're going in the right direction and that they're secure. And when you don't have, like, there's times as an adult, you just don't have all the answers and you really don't know. But when you're the leader of your household, you have to make sure that the person knows that, hey, we are headed in the right direction.
Yeah, you
And-
don't ever want your wife to lose confidence in you.
Yeah.
Or either.
So, but that's unrealistic for
Nah.
a woman to think her husband always knows. That's not acceptable to me.
It's not an always
It's not-
situation.
Yeah.
It's not an always situation. It's just the
You don't
idea.
get the perception that something might be wrong, like how he did with as the pilot. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was giving that example.
Absolutely, you have to let me know because I'm co-pilot.
You're not the co-pilot. You're the passenger. You're riding on my plane.
The stewardess.
The flight attendant. Yeah, yeah.
So
We both can't. We both can't pilot the plane.
So if it's something going on in your household that you can't handle, then who handles it?
That's the thing. There's nothing in my household that I shouldn't be able to handle. And if there's certain things like, that's where vulnerability comes in. Like I said, it's not an all encompassing idea. It's just a way men typically have. And because, like, let's be honest, if you have boys, right? And they're gonna grow up and they're gonna hopefully take care of their households. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that you're gonna teach them that, hey, there's certain things in life that you're just gonna have to do. Quit the crying
all the time.
Yeah. So
so
it's all in the same vein. It's all in the same vein.
So like one time, me and Clement had talked off camera, and we were talking about like men who are like, okay, so like on movies where the men are like super dangerous and can kill you with like a pencil. And then they be marrying and dating these dainty women that can't even shoot a gun. And that pisses me off, because why do you have this useful man that can do all this and you don't know, you haven't learned any skill from him? That's dumb and dangerous, because you didn't marry this man, you didn't birthed his legacy, and if something happens to him, you can't do anything. You just left.
That wouldn't be my house, because I'm training them off the rip, boy.
And that's the whole point of me saying that I'm not a passenger. I am a co-pilot, because if you go down, I still have to raise your kids. Can't no other man come and take your place to raise your kids. No other man can come in and do that.
Real quick. Hold on. Unfortunately, there is a limit to who you should be vulnerable to. Not every person can handle what you share to them. Yeah. And then continually, as a married man, shout out to Knowledge and Relationships, as a married man, it's okay to share to your wife how you are feeling today, but men must still continue to inspire and rebound with solutions, because women can easily get fearful.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to talk about.
Men have to be the rock.
I got to make sure that you know that the confidence you went to bed with is the same confidence you should wake up with. And even though I might be personally going through something, I'm not going to let on to you that I'm hurting. I'm going to keep soldiering, because I don't want to disrupt you and what you got going on. But if shit hit the fan, nigga, I'm going to let you in on it. That's how I'm going to tell you. If I just can't figure it out, I'm gonna let you know. I ain't gonna let us just go down in a blaze of fire trying to be holding on to it. Now I ain't gonna do that. But
I had to tell my husband, you can't wait until it's all messed up to tell me. You have to tell me as it's happening, because I need to know when to give you more strength, when to give you more support. If it's all messed up when you telling me, and you already lost all confidence, it's like, that's not the time to tell me. The time to tell me is when you first feeling that insecurity, so I can be like, not only can a man help himself think, that woman can also help you think. When this COVID happened, my husband got laid off. Okay, he did not want me working. He was just tolerating me working, even to the point where when he got laid off, he was like, well, I'm salary, so I still don't want you working. We about to just be at home. Well, they ended up calling and firing him instead of just laying him off. And so
did not have to pay him.
They did not have to pay him. So he came in. I was eavesdropping because our porch is not far away. So he came in telling me, and I couldn't even hide my smile. It was just like, it's okay, because I got it, you know? Oh, shit. I went to school, and
my wife loves doing that stuff. My wife loves that stuff where I'm opening up and I'm vulnerable, and she's like, "Oh, I helped you out," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I get it."
I don't get that you feel like you can't. Your wife is who you're. That's when you're not supposed to have to feel like you can't be vulnerable. Just like y'all want us to be vulnerable, we want you to be vulnerable too, because we want to reciprocate that. We are appreciative that you are that for us, and we want to give it back. It's not going to be all the time thing.
I don't know,
because I think it's hard to say.
I'll try to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll try to fix this shit. Like,
I think it's hard to say, just because like, guys, it's not like we want women to be vulnerable, but we expect them to be vulnerable, and we expect that we have to be the rock for a while. Like,
can be vulnerable.
We can't have two vulnerable people. Like it's not like someone needs to be that rock. Someone needs to be that anchor that holds everything together. You cannot have two people both in their feelings. Like it's not conducive to making anything work. I can't.
Just because you're
That's not
being
stable.
vulnerable don't mean that you in your feelings, does it?
So your
How else
example,
would you be
Dee, was
vulnerable?
My example, what?
your example that you just posed was perfect because your husband was being vulnerable and you were being the rock. You guys were, let's say he walked in, he says, they fired me, and you're like, and you like pass out on the floor, and you're like, oh my God, they fired you. And you start freaking out, then you guys would have been, it would have been over. Like, it would have been awful.
I am ready. I am
But
in there.
you notice, okay, right now that's why I get really upset when I hear the manosphere and they're saying men can never be feminine and women can never be masculine. It's a dial, it's not a switch. Okay, it makes sense for a man to have to show, okay, I can't protect right now, or I can't provide right now. Then for the woman to say, okay, I got it, but it has to be a switch. Does that make sense? If you guys are both masculine, let's say he was like, you know what? No, you're not going to work. And you're like, well, I need to work. Then you guys wouldn't have gotten anything done. But if you're both also crying at the same time, nothing would get done. And so that switch.
The thing for men is that you cannot train on a dial like that. You have to train most likely to the extreme.
Sort of. That's why you have a mother and a father, because you learn that balance. You learn, okay, I'm feeling sad. And you learn that from your mother. Your mother is like, how do you feel? How do you feel? You learn that from your mother. And then your dad comes in and he goes, okay, well, you feel that, but how are you going to fix it?
Yeah.
Men and women both learn that balance. Okay. How far you go, you learn that throughout life based on certain experiences that you have. But men and women both have that balance, and they need that balance, because if you're too emotional as a man, you're going to act out. But if you're too masculine as a man, you're going to burn out. At some point, you have to turn it off and relax. You have to turn it down, and relax.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying.
Why are you an accountant again? Why? Like, why? Are you good with numbers or something? Man, you're a damn psychologist, bro. You're a fucking therapist. What is you doing?
But the reason why I say that it's something that it's for men, the risk factor is just so much greater. We know we are in charge of more of this world. We are expected more of this world. Women are expected. I don't want to say you guys don't have as much expectation, but you guys don't have the weight of the world on you guys. So training a young man or training a boy to be a man is, you have to go high. You have to teach him the highest level of masculinity, because he's going to have to possibly go to war. He's going to have to possibly shoot somebody to protect your family. He's going to have to do so much more greater in his masculinity. Femininity, I can understand how you guys can turn it up and down based on your job and based on your reality and the stuff that we create. But essentially, men, we don't have that luxury. We're not, first of all, we're not judged on that, our dial of masculinity. We're judged against the most machoist person to the left of us and the most machoist person to the right of us. That's how we're judged. You know what I mean? Like, you may be like, you may be more effeminate but cuter than a girl to the right of you, but the girl to the left of you is more finer and less feminine, but you're all equal in some ways. To the man, it's not the same.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard that's why when we teach our men, it's always at the highest. We try to teach at the highest level and the traditions that men have.
This is actually like a pretty good, actually, I'm going to read off Knowledge and Relationships, and I'll say this real quick. Danielle, just to clarify for E Black on why he said wives are the back seat as opposed to side by side, is because when crap hits the fan, we stand in the front line, and though wives support us well, but we need to keep them from a distance because we are good and handling critical situations.
Yeah, but most men, when shit get deep, we focus and lock down. I ain't saying all men. I'm not saying all men. So I'm not saying all men, because everybody with a penis is not a man. I'm just telling you that. But typically when men the worse situation get, the better that some bitch become a genius. It's like he just think clearly, like
We're
clear,
under pressure.
like under pressure he perform, he steps up and he can get it. I'm talking about it just happens. I don't know. It just a light bulb, a switch come off, and boom. I mean, one of my you always made me comfortable when you said it'd be all right. Man, I'll tell her to be all right, and I don't have a fucking idea or clue what I'm about to do. And it's the worst information she done gave me all day. And I'm like, how in the hell could you let this happen? In my mind, I would not say it out loud, but I'm like, it'd be all right. We'll be all right. And she was like, for real? I was like, yeah, I got it. No problem. I don't have no idea. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out. And that's the kind of stuff that's what I like, though. I like the fact that she has that confidence that if no matter what happens, I got it. It'll be all right. And you will know if it ain't going to be all right, because I tell you,
I think I heard this on a different panel before, that what men predominantly want from women, a real burning desire, is that they want to know that they have someone that they can fail and that person will still be around and still want them, still love them,
non-judgmental,
still be there to try to motivate them.
Right.
Because I would say a lot more men nowadays, it's you have to perform, and if there's a slight kink in your armor, she's out.
And see, I gotta know that you loyal. That's what I mean. I don't care. Faithful and loyal ain't the same thing. I gotta know that you loyal. You feel me? Because I always got our best interest at hand. But I need to know that if I fuck up, I fail like trying to succeed, you got my back. Like, are you gonna be there? You know what I'm saying? Because I'll try to put us in the place, because I'm going for the moon. And even if we miss, nigga, we're gonna be amongst the stars. You know what I'm saying? But that's gonna require some sacrifice, and we might be broke after this goddamn. But I just need to know, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep them coming, right? We're gonna keep them coming. Yeah, baby, we're gonna keep them coming. Well, shit, I'm gonna get us to the moon then. That's how dudes work, man. Y'all don't think the young women today don't understand, and not all of them. I know some of them do. Boy, the motivation of fucking woman to give a man, bro. I'm trying to tell you something. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Shit, that nigga gonna run through a wall. For real.
Yeah, serious.
You proud of me? For real, baby.
Something small like that.
Shit, my girl.
It's real small. It's real. It's incredible. Because as I get older, I start to understand how much more important that is as like a guy to actually get that from a woman that you actually care for.
Hell yeah.
That assurance. That it's weird. Like it's not nurturing, but it's comforting.
It goes back to what I said about how sometimes as men we are just seen as objects of payment and protection and all these things, and it's comforting for us to hear the facts that we are humans. You care about our mental state. You care about what we're going through. So I think what you were saying, Corinne, is like exactly what we're saying. Is like, I remember the single days, man. The single days were rough because I don't care what I did. I'll take a girl out, have a great day. When I hear from her, I'll be like, damn, do you even care?
Do you even care? Yeah, it's like, yo, like,
do you even I've been texting you.
I was like, I've hit you up this whole time, and the second I don't hit you up, it's like we don't talk anymore. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, like I have to text you for 3, 4, 5 a week straight. I don't text you for one time for one day. Now we're not even talking no more. You don't even send me text message saying, "Hey, how was your day today?" I gotta keep sending you these corny ass good morning texts and stuff, and you ain't sent me one good morning text or have a good day at work text. So when you do find the person that is very virtuous and like Black Wall Street was saying, John was saying was loyal, those are traits that are just hard to find and very appreciated for a man. A man will do anything for those.
And you lock it down. I'm telling you, man, you just lock that shit down, bro. I mean, I'm telling you, like y'all motivate y'all, man. I can't believe how much like I hear all this stuff that like we don't care about seeing your ass in the thong. Have you not noticed something? We've been on this damn panel, a lot of us, a lot, right? And no man,
I actually do care about the thong. I do.
well, no,
It's
but the stereotype that man, that's all we think about. How many times we've been on the panel and a man and one of us said any damn thing about well, the sex has got to be. We never have. We have not. We have not mentioned it. Matter of fact, when you even asked the question to rank the shit, sex was ranked last out of all the men that's been on the panel. It's like that's not not our thing. That don't get us going. And
mine was number 2. Girls, see, we're not gonna we're not misrepresenting the stats, okay? Mine was 2, okay?
Well, mine was last, but they was you know, a lot of these young girls is showing all their body and everything like that. And I'm like, bro, that ain't it. Like that's I don't know who you think you're attracting. You attracting some guys that's got some issues that you really don't want to deal with. But that's another story. That's a whole nother panel. But you know, the girl who is respectful, who is willing to respect is our love language for the most part. You respect us, man, and that's how we receive love. Like that's love for us. You can say I love you all day, but when you show me respect and you tell me, hey, you did a real good job, I'm so proud of you, man, shit, I'm in, boy. You got me. You got me. I'm yours.
This all ties back to that video. When I was talking to Danielle, the value thing. When I was saying they have to be able to exchange value. What E Black was saying, he was like he needs a woman to be loyal. John was saying he wants respect. I feel like men can sense when a woman only wants the man because he has the money. You know, instead of wanting the man and he happens to have the money. You know, like in your situation, your husband lost his job and you said, okay, I'm going to work. We're going to get through this. If that had happened to her, let's say he was like, we have to sell your $200,000 ring. She'd probably be like, no, peace. And I'm going to take 50% when I go out the door. And I don't know her, so I don't want to make all these assumptions about her character, but that is probably what men are sensing. Like that was that value I was referring to. And I'm glad they said that because I feel like I'm able to kind of make it full circle now. I don't know if it makes more sense to you now, but that's how you guys differ. Like, even though everything she was saying was true, the way that she was doing it was wrong. Her heart wasn't in the right place.
And we do. And I know when dating, I'm going to put you to the test. I'm going to ask you for a ride to see where your mindset is. I'm serious. I'm going to ask you for a ride. I'm going to ask you to use your car. We've been dating for like 1.5 years, 2 years. I'm going to ask you to use your car. My car's tore up. Ain't nothing wrong with my car. But I'm going to see how you get out. Like if you make an excuse or you willingly coming off them keys. So if you make an excuse and it's valid, it's going to come up again. And then I'm going to put you in that same situation again. But if you keep coming up making an excuse, I'm going to say, okay, well, she don't really trust me. Then I'm gonna get some money out of you some kind of way. Don't even need it. I'm gonna ask you for it, and it's not gonna be $1 or $2. It's gonna be like $200 or $300, and I'm gonna see how you respond to that. Because if you're not willing to build with me, and you're not willing to like help support this family structure and invest in my ideas or anything like that, that's gonna let me know like you really just want this one-sided. Like you the type person who I couldn't pay all the bills and then we go on vacations and stuff and invest your money. No, you gonna want all your money in the bank and then me pay every damn thing. I ain't working like that with me. Nah, you can get
on a rainy day.
We gonna party. We gonna dress off your money. If you working too, we're gonna dress off your money. You might as well go on and get the debit card and bring it here. Bring that here to daddy. That's right. Get mine. I'll let you know what I spend. And that's how we gonna do it. Yeah. But if not, then John with the wrong woman.
Now, John, did you hear? I don't know if you know who Gillian Wallow is.
Who is that?
they have like a podcast, and they Wallow came from jail after doing 20 years, and the other Gilly is the guy, the rapper. He used to rap with Cash Money, and they're cousins basically. But Wallow said to know if a woman's real, he will have her sleep in the car with her overnight.
Yeah, that's another good indicator.
Okay.
If she said that she wouldn't sleep in the car with him overnight, like we just gonna drive here and no hotel, no nothing.
Yeah.
So, I just thought that was wild because when you said
no, bro.
when you said the test, I was thinking about that. Like, are we just gonna drive to a random forest and being like, "Hey, we sleeping here for the night"? And if she says no, like, is she not the one?
Yeah. I'm serious because I want to know that you can be uncomfortable with me. I want to know that you can be. It's all good. You can know how easy it is to love a nigga when everything is good. You know how easy to love a man who makes plenty of money, who always have shit. You ain't never got to worry. But what about when shit hits the fan and goes left? I want to know that you ain't trying to pack up my kids, take them to your damn mama house and be like, when you get yourself back together, we'll be here. Like, I don't want you when I get myself back together. The girl who went and got me something to eat that morning, goddamn, I'm more interested in her. And I just met her. Because why? When I was down, she was there. When I was down, she was there. And that means a lot.
That's all that man
You
wants.
want me to marry you? Nigga, you know how long forever is? Shit, forever's a long time. So I need to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Danielle, what do you think of that? Chris, comments? That is everything that is said right there. That's pretty much what men feel towards, like, when it comes to money towards women, men towards women, how we date and how we look at women, how we perceive them. Are you here to extract my resources and go? It's really just it.
Or are you here to get more resources and have fun in the process and hold you down in the process?
It's hard to find
stingy with that booty neither.
It's hard to find women that are genuinely interested and are okay showing that.
Yeah.
I guess to that I would say I'm happy he got me pregnant, because had he not got me pregnant, I wasn't really taking nobody serious. But getting pregnant made me have to grow up, I guess. It wasn't just about me no more. And he wanted the dang-gone baby.
Oh, listen, you're a good person. You kept it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna have a baby I wasn't gonna have the baby if he didn't want it, and I'm not gonna get rid of the baby if he wanted. Like, if you don't want the baby, then we don't have to have the baby. And since you want the baby, we kept the baby in. And now we here.
Yeah. Best decision you ever made.
Proud of your husband too. You real proud of him.
I am.
I know you are. And that's
so
good. Do you tell him though? Do you tell him? You tell him?
All the time.
Yep. And he put that damn little grin on his face, don't he? Be smiled, blush a little bit.
All the time. I text him it. I put it on my. If y'all follow me on Facebook, people are always like, "You really love your husband. Like, you always talking about." I do.
Hey, we brag on y'all. I promise
and he do.
Around. We brag on you. Look at here. See, this is the kind of woman you need, right here. You see what she said?
I was shocked. I didn't know that he did that, but he told me the type of stuff that he said when he at work. And I was like, "You be saying that?" He was like, "Yeah." and he absolutely put it on Facebook the other day. I was actually just saying that I do a good job motivating him. So, I mean, but had he not got me pregnant, I don't even think that I would have opened up like that, because it would have just been, I just don't trust men like that.
Yeah, God know that blessings, babies are blessings. Babies are blessings. If you get one, it was a blessing.
It absolutely was, because we have a wonderful life. I'm very grateful for him and the life he provides.
And on that note, we are going to close out the night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the panel. My name is Clements. I'm the host of CKQ Podcast Show, and time to close out. we have John with Black Wall Street.
Hey, if you want to learn about trading options or stocks, hit me up on the YouTube channel Black Wall Street Trading LLC or Instagram at John Cornelius 8770.
Chris.
Hey, it's The Blooming Ebony. You can find me on YouTube at The Blooming Ebony and also on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony.
Danielle.
I just love that sound effect. Every panel I go on, I need them to get that because when people introduce themselves, I be in the background like. But my name is Danielle, and you can find me on YouTube at A Sip of D, and you can find me on Instagram at Fly Nurse Mom Wife.
There you go. And she has her first video up on her YouTube page as well. And last but not least, my man, E Black.
All right, y'all. Well, today was fun. Follow me at E Black TV on all platforms, and appreciate CKQ for inviting me again.
You fell asleep halfway through that, huh?
Yeah, I tried not to get the Q and this K backwards, so I tried really hard to be like CKQ, and I was like,
It's all right. It's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great show, and I hope you all enjoyed. And on that note, hang out, panelists, hang out. Don't leave just yet. But to all those watching, thank you for watching. It's been a great night, and I'll see you next Wednesday.
Ain't hard to see they tryna keep black in the back, just like Rosa Parks, cops shooting blacks.